Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for subscribing, Miss Halcyon. I'm realizing. Oh good, I do have Spotify in here. I have a camera now. I mean, I've had a camera, but I've been trying to set stuff up behind me, but my office is small. Like, this is a wall. It's about my arm span between the other two walls. So there's not a whole lot of space. And I've been trying to make a space that looks nice, but things have been delayed in part due to health. I was about to say help. That's not the word I mean. In part due to health things. I am feeling better today, although well, I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I have a camera, and so we have a chatting screen, and I can even, hang on, if I do this, look at that. You guys appear on the screen too. So there we go. It's cool. It's fun. So I also have some new channel point redemptions. Well, okay. That is a lot more pixels than usual. Yeah. So I have I was trying to update the fireworks thing because it was so loud and so long, and I tried to find other fireworks sounds, but I couldn't find any that were like a couple seconds long that didn't sound like rockets. And I don't mean like Minecraft rockets, I mean like actual like weapon style rockets, and I really don't want that as a sound effect on my channel because that's not good. So it doesn't have a sound effect, but it is there in the channel point redemptions. There we go. Robert redeemed it. That's the word I'm looking for. Robert redeemed it. So we'll do cake or death for Robert. It is only redeemable once per stream per person, just because I don't want to spend the entire stream at the cake shrine, but I am always happy to go to the cake shrine on occasion. And then there's another redemption point, and that connects here. I'm going to turn the chat off the screen for just a second. Can you guys, is it not focusing? It's not focusing. Okay, but behind me, there's this little thing. It's very cute. Hang on, let me angle it so you can see, and it doesn't have glare. And it's just a little cat, and it says, "You are doing enough. It's going to be okay." So what about the Minecraft fireworks sounds? I couldn't find any sound effects that, so basically the sound alerts are created, they're like on this website that has sound alerts that you can then use on your streams. I don't know that if I made one using, say, the Minecraft sounds, if that would be an issue with copyright. So I haven't done that, only because I'm not super sure. But anyway, so these cards, they're very cute. It's basically, I saw another streamer that I follow. Oh gosh, hang on. Can you focus? Can we focus? Can we focus? Sometimes it doesn't like to do this. Okay. Well, this is fun. Why did it do that? And why won't you focus? Okay, let me switch to just the web. Yeah, I forgot that I didn't have sounds on that on that scene. So sometimes basically the camera just decides to not focus sometimes. And then if I go to the scene with the camera in it, and then I'm like, hey, look at the properties, you know where I told you to autofocus, remember to autofocus. And then the camera's like, oh yeah, I can autofocus, and it doesn't change any of the settings in that either. It's just like, oh yeah, I've remembered to do the thing you told me to do. So it's very frustrating. I'm still figuring out the camera thing, but hopefully you can hear me now. But anyway, so these cards are something. Okay, there's several things that I like about this setup here. Number one is the cards. A streamer that I follow that I really like had these cards on their stream, and they were just really nice little. They're basically like nice little pep talks with cute animals on them. And since I am disabled and chronically ill, and coming off of a week plus of some serious chronic illness stuff, which I will get to. Don't worry, I'm okay. But we'll get to it. I figured, you know, there are people in chat also who are going through their own stuff, and sometimes you just need a cute little pep talk with an adorable little cat that says you're strong, smart, and you got this. So yeah, fighting internalized ableism one cute kitten at a time, exactly. Now, for these ones, I have made them really cheap for channel point redemptions because I don't want to have a huge it's not a paywall, but I don't want people coming in and being like, oh, I need a pep talk, but I don't have enough channel points or whatever. So they are pretty cheap for me to just like pull a card for you. They are limited to twice per stream, again, for the same reason that the cake or death stuff is limited, just because I don't want to be doing cards the entire stream. However, with these, you get a veto if you want one. If I can find an example. A lot of these, like the ones that I've shown you, are really nice and are good, like they're just gonna be nice things to hear. Some of these, depending on where you are in your life, they might not be the best. So let me see if I can quickly find an example. Okay, yeah, so this is one of the examples. This could be helpful, but also it might not be. So this one says, anxiety lies, okay, adorable little dog, for starters, but it says, anxiety lies, there is no dooming coming, and you're managing everything just fine. And that could be something that is really helpful for you to hear in that moment, but also if you're in the middle of an anxiety attack or something, this might not be the most helpful thing to hear. So if you get that channel point redemption and the card that ends up getting pulled is not really helping you, you're allowed to just be like, hey, could I get a different one? Because that wasn't really the pep talk I was aiming for. That's perfectly fine. Hello, Orc Boy. Good morning. Welcome on in. We are getting to Minecraft, I promise, but I'm also semi-chatting because I've been away for a while and I've been ill, and I also have a camera now and a setup. So that's what those are. They're a channel point redemption. But hopefully you guys enjoy those. I like them. They're adorable, and sometimes you just need a pep talk from a cute animal, you know? So that lives over there. The other thing that you may have noticed, it's too bright. Okay. This may be the single best thing that I have ever purchased. I'm just gonna level with you. This might be the single best thing I've ever purchased. Okay, hang on. This is called the Existential Crisis Duck. Not because you are having an existential crisis, but because the duck is. and it's a lamp. And it has 3 different brightness settings. And it's quite possibly the best thing that I have ever purchased. I highly recommend if this is, like, if you're looking at this being like, this is a vibe for me, I highly recommend it. It's amazing. And I just really like the image of this little existential crisis duck underneath a card that says, you're doing enough. It's gonna be okay. So if there was one of a polar bear you'd buy a lot, yeah, I adore the existential crisis duck. So yeah, so that's that. And then there are some other things. There's some books and such, some of which are like my favorites. And then there's some art by some amazing artists. Well, from the ones that I've got at the moment are from Rahat Kaduji, I believe. Hang on, I've got a command for art. Yes, Kaduji. I was like, oh, that doesn't sound... I thought I was remembering it wrong. But her art is amazing. Let me show you the pieces that I've got here. So there's this one, which is just... Hang on, let me get it in the camera. There we go. It's just a very cute little cabin in the woods autumnal scene. I really like her style. It's very kind of... I don't know, it's just very chill. I like what she does. She's based in the UK, so if you are also based in the UK, she absolutely can ship to you, but I think she also ships worldwide, I think. And so that's her shop. I've just thrown in chat. A lot of the prints are potentially sold out, but a lot of them are not. And a lot of the postcards aren't sold out either. And so the other one this is the one, the first piece of her art that I saw. It's a little badger having a cup of coffee or tea and reading a book in the sunshine, and it's adorable. Um, so yeah, it's great. I love it, and I love her art. I highly recommend. I know I shouted no. Okay, I saved it. I shouted her out on Twitter a few days ago, or maybe like a week ago. Her stuff just makes me happy. Why do you see the items on the desk changing monthly just to see how much attention you're paying? They are gonna change. Not hugely, unless I end up with like with a decent amount of funds to to change stuff. There's a degree to which it gets expensive. But yeah, some of the books might change. From like here over, I haven't actually read these books. I've had them for like 5 years and I haven't read them. So even academics don't read all the books they have. so those are there. But then some of these, like Flora Celtica, that if you are into plants and you're curious about plants and humans, Flora Celtica is specifically about Scotland, but it's one of the best books. It's like my favorite nonfiction book ever in existence. And there are nonfiction books about glass beads, and this has beaten them. So that should tell you how much I like this book. Flora Celtica, the unfortunate thing is that it's no longer in print, so you might not be able to find a copy terribly easily, unfortunately. But I was able to find one for relatively cheap. My dad was able to find one for relatively cheap because I recommended it to him because he's a biologist, and I was like, you would love this book. It's so good. And basically what it does is it interweaves folklore with native plants around Scotland, and also some non-native plants as well, but it's really, really nice. Your dad has 2 ceiling height bookshelves full of books he hasn't read yet. Yeah, I think a lot of people do. It's great. I won't go through all of the books though, because there's a lot. I mean, you can tell me if you want me to, but there's a lot there. But yeah, so I thought I would have a little bit of a camera situation and such. And yeah, there was a sentence in there and I don't remember what it was. So in terms of health stuff, because I said I would update you guys. So the last several weeks, if you've been active in my Discord or following my channel or anything, you've probably noticed that the last few weeks have been a bit sporadic in terms of my ability to do much. And that's in part because there were some things that, like a lot of very stressful things happening at once, but also because I have had several things happening. Like when you're chronically ill, you start to learn to identify different types of pain, right? Or different types of discomfort, or whatever word you want to use for it. So pain that you know is fine. I mean, it's not fun, but it's familiar pain, right? So it doesn't concern you really because you know what it is. So it's annoying and you deal with it, but you don't feel like you need to see a doctor about it because you know exactly what it is and they know exactly what it is. But then when you get pain or discomfort or other health issues that you don't know what they are, you kind of need to figure out what those are, and if they're caused by some of the things that you already have diagnosed, or if they're caused by something else, if it's a short-term thing, if it's a long-term thing, if it's yet another chronic illness, because Pokemon, my body thinks chronic illnesses are Pokemon and we have to catch them all. So it's, yeah, recognizing different / new symptoms is really important. And so I had been doing that to a degree, and then I kind of, the other thing that you learn as someone who is chronically ill is that if you end up with symptoms that are not like emergency room style symptoms, if you go and see a doctor, chances are they're going to say, well, give it a few more days and see if it goes away. And here's some stuff to ease the pain or whatever. And then, if it's still there in a few days or a week or something, come back and we'll revisit and think about what it is. So when you're chronically ill and you have a new symptom, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to see if this symptom if the symptom lasts, and we'll see what happens then. So so basically, I was identifying these symptoms and then realized they weren't going away. So I spoke to a GP on Tuesday. They had me come in yesterday. They gave me 3 new medications, so I'm on 3 new medications, but they are helping. It's just a lot. So if I'm a little bit in and out of things, that's why. Adding new medications, regardless of what medication it is, can often kind of change things in a disabled person's life, and so things can get a little more sporadic. But the good news is that because, well, the bad news is that I haven't been streaming as much, but the good news is that because I haven't been streaming as much, I had time to work on a video earlier this week that hopefully I can release like tomorrow or Saturday or something. And I have an idea for another video that I would like to release by the end of the month in time for Halloween, because that would be cool. But yeah, that's effectively what's been going on. It also means that I've been working a lot on Archaeo SMP, so we're gonna kind of chill today, and I'll show you what I've been working on. And yeah. And medications don't always play well with you or the other medications you're on. Yeah, exactly. So far, thankfully, these medications are doing okay. And at the very least, being on these medications is less awful than being off these medications has been. So that's good. That's a sign that they're helping, at least to some extent. But yeah, it's a bit of a fun time. So yeah. I think, what do you guys think? I feel like I've said everything for this general. Oh, I should have put you guys back on as the chat. We can do that. But thank you for sharing. Sorry you have to deal with this. Yeah, I'm happy to share, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have a face cam actually. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of putting my face on the internet, but I know how helpful it has been for me to see other chronically ill and disabled people doing things online and doing them successfully. So if I can contribute to that for somebody else, that is a really nice thing. And one of the ways that disabled people like myself have issues in society, or one of the things that's difficult, I guess, is if you are as young as I am, which I'm not super young, but I'm also not. A lot of people look at me and say, "Oh, but you don't look disabled," or "Oh, but you're so young," or "Oh, but you're so healthy," and I'm like, "No, I'm really not." And part of kind of counteracting the notion that people have to look a certain way to be disabled or chronically ill is by people who, like me, who are disabled and chronically ill, just putting ourselves out there and making it clear that, like, you can't tell if somebody is disabled just by looking at them, and like there is no such thing as somebody being too young to be disabled, or somebody being, looking too healthy or whatever to be disabled. So not an old fart like you. Well, I don't know how old you are, Orc Boy, but I'm probably slightly older than a lot of you might think. A lot of people often think I'm about like 5 to 10 years younger than I am. I enjoyed it. There was, okay, so slight story time. You're not old, you're above average age. I like that, Robert. I like that a lot. So what am I saying? What am I saying? Story time. That was it. Back when my husband and I were dating, so this was several years ago, like a number of years ago now. We would go to a pub that was kind of on our way home for both of us. We would go to this pub after work and then, spend an hour or so there and then go home. And I said I would meet him at the pub, so I ended up getting to the pub earlier than he did. And I was like, "Oh, just let me know what you want to drink, and I'll get the drinks." And so he just wanted like a Diet Coke or something, and I got like a water or a Sprite or something, like really easy, simple drinks. And I went up to the bar and I ordered the drinks, and the guy at the bar was like, can I see some ID? And I was like, "Oh, sure, but like they're not alcohol. We don't want any alcohol." And he was like, "Yeah, but if you're like, I need to make sure you're above the age that is allowed to be in an establishment that serves alcohol in the UK," which is like 13, I think, or like it's young. And I was nowhere close to 13, and I just kind of smiled and I said, "Oh, I mean, yes, you can. I am significantly older than that, but sure." And so I gave him my ID and pointed out where my birth date was, and he felt kind of bad. But there was this older gentleman right next to me at the bar, and he thought it was the most hilarious thing that he had ever seen, because, you know, at the time I was like, I don't know, 26 or so, somewhere in there, 27. Actually no, because I was significantly older than the age where they're like, ooh, maybe we should card you for alcohol. And yeah. See you later, Orc Boy. I'm sorry we didn't get to Minecraft before you had to head into work, but the VOD will definitely be available, and there will definitely be Minecraft, I promise. Your brain thinks you're half your age, your body's convinced you're twice your age. Yeah. So that's a fun story where basically they didn't know that I wasn't 13 when I was like basically 30. So yeah, it's fun. Your wife has an invisible illness. The level of grief she gets for accommodating herself is the worst. Yeah. Yeah. There are points, so a lot of my stuff is invisible as well, and there are points where I do have a cane to walk around sometimes, because my right hip, it's after, so some of the illnesses cause pain in that area anyway, but after the surgery I had last year, we're thinking that like some of that area also didn't heal properly, and so it'll just decide that it doesn't want to function, or that it wants to be painful. So I do walk around with a cane when I need it, but there are also other times where if it feels a little bit like people are looking at me a bit too much, and questioning whether I deserve accommodations, I'll just pull my cane out so that I don't have to deal with questions. And feel like, no, if I'm walking with a cane, there are no questions. It's fine. Or there are at least fewer questions. Yeah, you're sorry people have to go through this. I feel young until I try to stand up. Yes. Yes. You're autistic, and the number of times people tell you, but you don't look autistic. Oh, and think it's a compliment. Yeah, that's awful. That's really bad. How does anybody even, like, what do they even mean? You don't look autistic. Like, what is autistic supposed to look like? That doesn't, that makes zero sense. So yeah, I'm very much here for representation of disabilities and chronic illnesses, and I should make it clear, I can only represent the disabilities and chronic illnesses that I myself have, because I don't have any experience with the various other things that, say, the rest of you are dealing with, or that people outside of this community are dealing with. But I do think that as we, you know, there is an element of camaraderie among disabled and chronically ill people. So we all know that we can't really speak to each other's experiences, but we're also generally all very appreciative when we can find another disabled person and be like, hey, I'm part of that club too. So, because it can be a difficult club to be a part of, so it's always nice when you find somebody. But yeah, let's get into some Minecraft. I should probably actually launch the Minecraft server. I haven't. Is it dark? It's dark. Let's sleep. I hadn't actually joined the game yet. Oh, and it's slightly, hang on, wait. It's slightly, the thing is that for some reason, my computer, or OBS, doesn't like to put the window in the correct size, so I had to resize the window just briefly. But yeah, let's play some Minecraft. I've been playing with shaders a lot since I added Optifine for the duck. Well, I mean I added Lightmatica for the duck, but I also added Optifine. So I very much enjoy the shaders. It makes it look so pretty. Not that it doesn't look pretty without the shaders, just I feel like, I don't know, shaders always add a little something to all this that I really love. There's nothing like visible on the surface that I've done that's like new. But, well, aside from this I made a little walkway so that I don't have to balance on like this thing and hope that I don't fall down. There's a little walkway out to here because I want to make an elevator from here down into the mines. I just have to do it, and I need to figure out some redstone to do it. But yeah, it's only taken me like what, 3 months? 2 months? 2 months, I think, right? It was the end of August that this series started. But yeah, it's only taken me 2 months to build a walkway that I could actually walk on and to plant more sugarcane that's actually functional. But you've probably also noticed that there's a tunnel here. There's also a tunnel over here. Hang on, this is a roundabout. All right, well, a roundabout way of doing it, but there's a tunnel here. Hang on, I made a tunnel, and I think Dragon, a few of you were mentioning tunnels and things underneath the base, and Dragon mentioned having it connect up to my nether portal. So I'm gonna show you what I've been doing while I've been too ill to do anything else. So I've made like these little nooks and crannies. So like this is where the ore, I'm just gonna store spare ore rather than constantly mining it, because I have far too much copper and far too much redstone, and I don't need to mine more at the moment. But yeah, so I need some gold ore and diamond and some emerald, which will, I don't know, maybe go in the middle or something. But this is one room. This one is finished. Most of these rooms are not finished, so that's part of what we're going to be doing today. Well, it's probably the entirety of what we're going to do today. Unless there is an option to also look at the 1.20/1.19.3 updates, the bookshelves and the hanging signs and stuff. I was watching Ulraf play around. Ad break. Well, I was watching Ulraf play around with it on stream yesterday, on his stream yesterday. So we could also play around with that if you guys are interested. You bet some of the bamboo blocks would work well with my builds. Yeah, I bet they would. They are a little bit sort of more yellow in wood type. I kind of have to see them next to the other wood types, but they feel a little bit yellowy green-er. But that doesn't mean that they're bad. I'm really excited about the bamboo blocks, actually. So yeah, so we can do that later on stream as well. And then I also did this area. This is basically just stone generators, cobblestone / regular stone, and then this is a basalt generator. So I just threw these together. Oh, and then this is like the easiest of easy obsidian generator because I was like, oh, you're back. Excellent. Okay, so I was just mentioning, Robert, that we could also look at the 1.20 stuff, the new stuff, on stream if you guys would like. So we could do a little bit on here and then jump over to that, or vice versa, really. So we have the ore room that I think I explained before the ad break happened. I'm still sad that Twitch doesn't notify me when that's about to happen because they're supposed to. I have tried to minimize the ads as much as I can, but there's also a degree to which there's only so much I can do, unfortunately. But yeah, so we have the ore room, and then we have, this is like a cobblestone generator / regular stone generator, and then I've got a basalt generator over here. If you're curious about how to build a basalt generator, you need some blue ice. So I got some from Dragon's shop a while ago. I just haven't done anything with it. And then you need some lava, and that's what's underneath this. And then a piece of soul soil immediately under. So you'll see it kind of briefly as I mine this. Soul soil, blue ice, and then the lava source block over there. And so when the lava flows against the blue ice, it creates basalt. Have an ore room, and next to it have an else room. I approve. I like that. I'm not gonna build one because that's work, and I don't necessarily. But oh man, I love the pun. It's a good pun. Okay, so that's the basalt generator, and then the cobblestone generator is harder for me to necessarily show. Well, this is a stone / cobblestone generator, so basically There are water source blocks. Well, there's one over here, and then I think there was one over there, but it might not be a water source block anymore. I don't know. And that's just over some hoppers. And so there's lava up top. And then when it hits the flowing water turns into stone. You can use a silk touch pickaxe or I don't know, some like my fortune pickaxe, because I don't have a third one that just is regular. And you can get stone or cobblestone from it. You can tell, have been mostly getting stone because I don't really need cobblestone. I also don't really need stone. So I've kind of put a certain amount of my stone in here, but that's how that works. And those are the 2 rooms that I've completed. Right, and there's also a little thing here that goes over to my little sugarcane area. Those are the 2 rooms I've completed. And then as we go, I've kind of created the doorways. So I want to have a smelter here. And then over here, this is kind of like more decorative than anything else. But also, I was thinking like a hunter's guild or something, like a mob based, like the hostile mobs, like a place for gear and armor and also mob drops, so that I don't have to keep them in my storage system necessarily if they start overflowing. And then over here, this is my shop storage / stock room. So basically when I finally open up the bone shop, which I will get to, I promise. I keep thinking about doing it off stream, and then I'm like, oh no, I should save that for on stream, and then on stream I have other ideas of what to do. so I keep forgetting. But basically the stock can just go in here so that it's. Did I just hear I feel like I just heard a skeleton or something. But there isn't one, so I don't know. Anyway, just having kind of a stock room that I can have down here, and then glow lichen and glowberry kind of farm area. I mean, like, it's not going to be an auto farm, but just an area where they're kind of growing that's nice and decorated and such. And then this one, and as you can see, we're getting into different kind of territory over here. There's going to be an area with chorus fruit. Chorus fruit actually doesn't need access to the sky in order to grow, so it's not going to grow terribly tall out here, especially because, oh my goodness, the sheep. So many sheep. But there'll be some chorus fruit thing there. And then this is going to be a fungus farm / area, kind of. So it's going to be a lot bigger, but I'm going to have the nether fungi, and then nether wart, and then also the 2 mushrooms that are found in both the nether and the overworld, the red and brown mushrooms. And you can now hear my frogs. It gets very noisy on this end of the tunnel. And then this is a lava generator. I've only set it up kind of briefly so that I had fuel to take all of my netherrack and turn it into nether bricks while I was decorating this. But basically you put a lava source block above a block of dripstone, and then you put the dripstone point, I'm sure that's not the name, pointed dripstone, I think is. You put one underneath it, and then it'll drip lava instead of water. You can do this to gather water as well if you just change this to a water source block, I believe. And it may not actually require a source block for water. I can't remember, but basically it'll drip water down into the cauldron instead. But then you can come along and with your bucket, so long as your inventory is not full. I did lose a bucket to my inventory being full because I didn't realize, and then I went and scooped the lava, and it just shot out of my inventory and into the other lava cauldron. I was like, oh no. So yeah, you do need a water source block and pointed dripstone. Yeah, okay. So this lava is an easy source for smelting, basically. So this is just going to be a relatively small lava generator. I don't need huge amounts of lava, at least not at the moment. It might get bigger. I don't know. It's not going to look exactly like this. This is like temporary solution so that I could fire all the nether bricks. And then this is going to be like a potion brewing area. It's going to be bigger than this, I promise. A lot of these rooms are going to be bigger than they currently look. I haven't dug them all out yet. But yeah, so there's the potions area, and then it goes into kind of like red nether brick, and and it's getting dark. Okay, and then we get to a bridge that leads to my nether portal, and I'll show you what I'm doing with the nether portal in just a second, but let me go sleep, because I've taken too long to talk. Shaders are just so nice. Like it's just pretty. It's pretty without shaders, but it's really pretty with shaders. I like shaders a lot. Okay, let me catch up on chat because I haven't been paying attention to chat and you all have been saying stuff. You remember a D&D game you were in once? A friend of yours had a warrior whose weapon was an oar that he called Elsie. Oh, that's good. That's quite good. That's really good. D&D, fun D&D characters. I'm always down for talking about fun tabletop RPG characters, D&D or otherwise. I'm a fan of RPGs. Given that I'm currently helping research one, I'm a fan. Hang on, I've chat. I scrolled and then forgot to scroll back. Yeah, you love how the lava looks with the trapdoors. Those are mangrove wood trapdoors. I really like trapdoors that have holes in them. So like the acacia or the either of the nether fungus technically blocks. So like the warped wood, even though it's a fungus, and the crimson wood trapdoors. That's it. I really like those. Jungle kind of works to a degree as a trapdoor. But then the mangrove ones, I like that they're a totally different design. And the bamboo trapdoors, I'm so excited about bamboo trapdoors because they look really, really cool and really pretty. You love that we can get renewable lava for smelting, but it gets so expensive. Yeah. It does get expensive, which is for iron. And we do have, like, somebody is selling iron on the server, and I have purchased iron from them on several occasions. It's been very helpful, but I don't want to spend. Yeah, I'm not going to have a massive industrial lava farm because I don't need one. Lava generator. Don't forget, you get the bucket back out of the furnace, so only setup can be expensive. That's true, but the cauldrons for the I think Moon might be talking about the cauldrons, or if I scroll down. Fuel super smelter setup itself gets expensive. Yeah. And buckets to store the lava. Right, okay. Yes. What do I think about the bamboo trapdoors? Sorry, I was I was too scrolled up. I should have read the rest of the conversation. Yeah. I was using lava. The other thing about lava is that you need to have a smelter set up for lava to be the most efficient thing, because it burns for so long that it'll go through more than a stack of items. So if you come through here, like if you just go into your normal smelter and I had a stack of netherrack, lava will actually go through like 2 or 3. Well, it'll go through more than that. There is a specific number that lava will fire. I can't remember what it is. It might be 2 stacks, it might be more, I don't remember. But either way, you kind of have to keep feeding it. So unless you're semi-babysitting the furnace, it's nicer to have a smelter set up where you've got, say, like a chest that has a hopper going into it with the materials that you want to fire and such. Close to 1,000 items. That has not been my experience. That would be like 15 stacks of netherrack. There's no way that it's done that much. I would have so much less netherrack with a bucket of lava. It's definitely not 1,000 items. At least not when it comes to netherrack. There's no way. I still have so much netherrack. 1,000 seconds. 100 items. There we go. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, wait a minute. That's not, wait. Because I still have so much netherrack. I've smelted so much netherrack and I still have so much netherrack. because of our digging out the nether situation. So yeah. So anyway, so that's what I've got. Could be 100 brain foggy. Yeah. It's always frustrating when you're trying to, like, especially with brain fog, where it's like, I know what this is, but my brain just can't parse it and can't put things together. I had so much brain fog at the GP yesterday. I had to go in person. So we spoke over the phone, and then they were like, we kind of want to check this out in person. I was like, okay. And there was a point where I was like, I started to ask a question. It was like, do you think that? And then I lost the question, and I was like, nope. I lost it. I don't know what the question is. And then I started, like, I kept starting to hope that it would come back to me, and I was like, nope, I still don't know what it is. And I did eventually remember it. But when you're chronically ill / disabled, you end up looking at things and saying, well, eventually, if it's important, it'll come back to me. If it's not important, then I guess it won't. Or if it doesn't come back to me, it can't have been that important. Can you imagine IRL if door design was dictated by the material the door was made of? Yeah, you ask the carpenter if you can have the same design but in a different wood type, and they just give you the most incredulous look. Yes. Oh man, that would be kind of sad. That would be kind of sad. I don't. Yeah. I can imagine it. I'm like, oh no. That would be so difficult. Okay, Smelter. I should say, I don't have a plan for these rooms aside from the thing that I've listed. So so this is gonna be a relatively chill stream of just kind of chatting and building stuff. I don't even know that this is the size that I want it. It's not very big for a smelter setup. Oh, but that is a wall. Okay. So let's put that back. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's what I'm aiming for, I think. Now some of these, so like with the generators, I've had the floor come down. Oh yeah, and this, I can't remember if I said this. This is basically like the most basic obsidian generator ever. It's not really a generator, but basically like you take lava buckets, you put them there and there, and then you pour water on them, and then you mine the obsidian. I could make it bigger if I really want to. Oh, that, I didn't mean to do that. I could make it bigger if I really want to. I don't particularly want to. I had a design, like when I was first digging this room out, I had a design where I kind of had a staircase going down to a bigger area. But I don't currently need that much obsidian, so I don't really plan it. And the other thing is that the nether portals, whenever they disconnect, for some reason or another, I end up with free obsidian because I don't need that second nether portal, so I just mine it, and I'm like, all right, I'll hang on to this, and create more nether portals in like resource areas and such. You can always dig a hallway down further to give me more room on a level. Or stairwell. Yeah. So, oops, sorry. Put my hand back in the wrong location. So I did have that going here originally, and then I was like, this is a lot, and I don't really feel like clearing out an entire level just to do obsidian. So I figured I would leave it at this for now, and then if I have like some large need for additional obsidian, I would do that. Or if at that point we had gone to the end, say, then I would just go to the end and mine one of the pillars, probably. Does the wool color coding mean anything? Not, I mean, it's kind of design wise, sort of. It was like so like ores, I don't know, there's like stone and like diamonds and such, and then this, I was like, okay, well, there's a lot of lava in these generators. I'm making stone. I don't know. It's just kind of the two colors that fit a theme and also looked cool together. So the smelter is like, I don't know why exactly the yellow. I was still going from a lava / flame situation here, but also kind of gold, even though gold is less important in Minecraft. And then this is literally like the green and the gray. I just thought it looked nice. But this one, because my shops are amethyst and bone, I was like, all right, let's go with those colors. And then this is glow lichen and glowberries, and glowberries are kind of orangey, and glow lichen, the light blue is the best I could do. Glow lichen is a color that doesn't really exist in wool. And then chorus fruit, I went with different shades of like purpley pink, and then the fungus is brown and red, which were actually the colors of my undergraduate university. It was brown and red. It's nice colors, fun colors. Not so much, but yeah. And then lava. Yeah. So it gets kind of warmer colors. There was logic to it, but also not so much. There was a degree of logic. The other thing is that I like that I can kind of hop around here, but if I'm going like, okay, well, if I'm sprint jumping, I end up hitting the roof. And so I might make the roof taller, but I also really like this kind of half glowstone thing that's going on, so I don't really know. I'm not entirely sure. I might change the roof of the tunnel, or I might not. It is now getting towards what room am I on? I'm on this room. I keep losing track of which rooms I'm on. It's getting towards nighttime, but I feel like I should. Is this okay? But this is just stock, so this room doesn't actually have to be all that big. It just needs to look nice. And I feel like I can work with this kind of space. So I'm going to err on the side of the smelter needing more space, because it probably will. Because if I want it to eventually be redstone, I should also sleep. I should sleep. If I want to eventually have a redstone-based smelter, like a super smelter kind of situation, then I'm definitely going to need more space. But we'll see. Sometimes there are noises in the Spotify music, which I should say the music I use on Spotify is royalty free. But sometimes sometimes there's noises in the Spotify music that sound like sound effects in the game, and then I'm like, was that the music? Was that the game? I'm not too sure. Yeah. So if I ever have an odd face on expression, I know English. I have a PhD, I swear. It's probably because I've heard a noise and I'm trying to decide if that noise is safe or not. There's a where is the skeleton? I mean, I suppose it doesn't really matter where the skeleton is so long as it's not here. But still, I don't think there's like a cave or anything near me. I don't think. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. I do like having this come down. I like kind of walking down into the area, so I think I'll take this down one more. Just to put a nice floor in. Just because nice floors are nice. And actually, I think what we probably will do is... Oh gosh, hang on. Robert, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot about your cake or death. Oh my goodness. Hang on. Hang on. We got a cake or death. I've totally failed in my cake or death duties. Hang on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This was like 45 minutes ago, and I've totally failed in my cake or death duties. You thought that I'd forgotten. Yeah, it happens. I'm so sorry. Feel free to remind me. Like, if I forget something, definitely feel free to... Don't feel bad about reminding me. Okay. Right. Robert. Whatever and V's has got one too. Okay, we'll do Robert first and then we'll do V's. Alright, so, Robert, I don't know what question you were asking of the cake shrine, but here we go. Ready? Ready? It's a firework! I don't know what that means for your question. It means you're in favor with the firework gods, but not the cake gods, it seems. Or, that is a bit of a downside, is that because of this shrine, theoretically, you can't be in favor of the firework gods and the cake gods at the same time. So that's now part of the lore. So the firework gods and the cake gods are different. What is it? They have different spheres of influence, I guess, or opposed spheres. Not necessarily opposed, but like they don't overlap, if that makes sense. All right, V's. Let's see if you get a firework or a cake. I don't know which one you're hoping for. You can be hoping for either one. Oh, it's a cake! V's got a cake! Sorry, Robert, well, you might have wanted the firework, but V's, you got a cake, and Robert got a firework, and I feel like there should be lore on what these things mean, but at the same time, I like kind of leaving it up to you guys to determine what it means. It's almost like a tarot card or something of like, oh yeah, here's the prediction. It's kind of up to you what that means for whatever it was you asked, and I appreciate it. I like it a lot. Different factions, yeah, that's a good way of phrasing it. This is, as sad as rain can be in Minecraft, this is about what it looks like in Scotland today, at least where I live. it's pretty much this. So it's accurate. Minecraft is like, oh, let's be accurate to where you are in the world. Except for the savannah, where I don't get rain. I get the clouds, but I don't get rain, which is very strange. Okay, alright. I'm so sorry I forgot about that, Robert. Absolutely don't feel bad about reminding me if you need to. because my brain is a sieve, unfortunately. Okay, so we're in so the way that I've done this tunnel is it goes kind of from tough into deep slate, which then goes into, which then goes into basalt, and then the basalt goes into blackstone, the blackstone goes into nether bricks, and then the nether bricks goes into red nether bricks down at the end over there. So I kind of want the floors on each, in each of these zones to kind of represent the zone that they're in, I guess. But this one is kind of at the mixing point between basalt and deep slate. So I think, well, I was gonna say I don't have basalt. I do have a tiny amount of basalt. But let's get some basalt and deep slate. Okay, I have more basalt. I don't have more deep slate, so let me go get more deep slate. let me go get more deep slate. And then we can make a floor and then figure out a smelter. What I'll probably do is set up a super simple, a manual smelter kind of thing on stream, and then I'll figure out how to do. Ooh, you can tell I'm running low on cobbled deep slate, but I do have a whole bunch of regular deep slate, which is not terribly useful. But I do have some of it that I could just mine if I really need it. Hopefully I don't. It's like those beckoning cats, depending on whether they're beckoning with the left or right paw, they're said to be beckoning either people or money. You don't really get beckoning cats with both paws raised because that'd be greedy. Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that, Robert. You'd take that over four. I'm not sure I understand, Dragon. Have I missed something or am I having a brain fog moment? I was gonna say I can raid your deep slate if I need. Oh yeah, you'd trade for redstone. Oh. I'll see how I get on with the deep slate. But I do like deep slate as a building material. Mostly, I mean, I like cobbled deep slate and I like regular deep slate for floor patterns like I did down in the skeleton area. But I also love this block. This is one of my favorite blocks to build with. And then I do like the sort of chiseled, I think that's chiseled deep slate or whatever it's called. I enjoy that because I like that it's faces, but I only use it as accents in 4 degrees Celsius. Yeah, that makes sense. You'd prefer the rain. Yeah, okay. So that was a combination probably, but probably more likely me having a brain fog moment of forgetting that I was literally just talking about the weather. It's it's not 4 degrees. I don't actually know how cold it is right now. According to something on my computer, it's 11 degrees Celsius, which isn't bad. Yeah, we get a lot of, having lived near the border with Canada for a while. I went to my undergraduate university. I was in very northern New York. Not like Buffalo, further north than Buffalo. There's a lot of New York that is further north than Buffalo. And the closest city was actually Ottawa, so I am very familiar with how cold it gets at this time of year in that region. It can be very, very cold. Mix in some of this, I think. Rain is usually warmer and it's 4 degrees there right now and very chilly. Share a lot of the same weather. Yeah. I don't know exactly where you're based, Dragon, but I am familiar with at least some of Canada's weather. And yes, it's a lot of similar stuff. My guess, if I had to guess, oh, you're in Ottawa. All right, okay. Yeah, I know Ottawa. Ottawa, northern parts of North America are cold. They can be very cold. When I was in undergrad, the first year of my undergraduate degree, my mom actually phoned me one day and said, hey, just wanted to check in and ask how you were doing with the blizzard. And I was like, what blizzard? And she goes, well, you guys got a blizzard today. And I was like, oh, I mean, I guess it snowed slightly more than usual, but it could have fooled me. I didn't realize it was a blizzard. So yeah, in my first year of uni/college, my mom phoned me to ask about a blizzard that I didn't realize was happening because it was just so snowy all the time where I was. It's 32 Fahrenheit. Also supposed to be a high of 60. Yeah, 32 Fahrenheit is 0 Celsius. 60 is probably around like 15 or so Celsius. Might be slightly colder than that. You got interrupted 3 times typing that. No worries. If you guys forgive my English, then I absolutely forgive your English. my English gets so bad on so many occasions. Yeah. I think it's weird because I understand both centigrade/Celsius and Fahrenheit, but translating between them I'm not very good at. So in my head, I know roughly how cold like 11 degrees is because that's what temperature it is today, and I understand that. But I also forget. Like I can't. It's hard for me to translate that into Fahrenheit for some reason, which I don't know what that says, if that's like just me semi-failing or if it's like some, I don't know, mark of how arbitrary temperature scales are or something. I don't know. Probably says more about me than the temperature scales, to be honest. But yeah, for some reason I understand when people use either system, aside from when I have major brain fog moments and forget that we're talking about the weather. But translating between them is always a little weird to me. Okay. There is a part of me that has thought in the times that I have been dealing with this tunnel that I should probably just bring my bed down here and sleep down here, but so far I have yet to do it. Because there's a part of me that's like, I don't really feel like it. Like there's the lazy part of me that just doesn't want to move the bed. Ad break. Okay, thank you so much for letting me know, Robert. I know you can't hear me, but that's good to know. Where is my stone cutter? It's over there. Let me go get stuff, and then we'll start working. You... Ah, pep talk. Wait, pep talk for me? You want me, or... I mean, I'm okay. You guys can also have this pep talk. Hang on. We'll wait for Robert to get back for a pep talk. And then that's so nice of you, V's. That's so nice of you. Well, we'll get a pep talk. We'll get a pep talk once people come back from the ad break, so that they can also enjoy the pep talk. Let me do this. Nope. Let me actually play the game properly. And yeah, I think I'll start. How does this wall go? Does this wall kind of go diagonally? Weirdly? Yeah, it does. Okay. Because we already start... Yeah. I'm wondering if we can kind of make the smelter a little bit larger over here, just because I'm going to put a wall in so that we don't have the same colors going around, but that way at least we have more space. And you're back. Okay. All right. Well, V's has just redeemed a pep talk for me, but I'm gonna share it with all of you as well because we may as well. Hang on. Let's go back to chatting screen. Ugh. Okay. All right. I'm gonna shuffle these. Since you've made friends with Canadians, you've kept a web page open on your phone to convert the temperatures. Yeah, I often will do that, like when I'm on a call with my parents or something. I'll be like, oh gosh, hang on, what does this mean? How does this convert? Okay, I'm shuffling these, which doesn't really, I don't know what difference shuffling them is gonna do, but here we go. We're shuffling. And let's do this one. Aw, this is nice. Okay, hang on. Let me. Oops, nope. I'm still in the Minecraft window. Sorry, everybody. Hang on. Let me take chat off the screen for a second. This one, it says, "Life will always bend you, but trust me, you are too strong to break." So I like that. That's nice. I like that one a lot. I'm gonna stick that right over there, if it stays. So that's cool. Thank you so much, Bees. But also, all of you can also take that pep talk yourselves. It's a good one. I like that. That's especially given the last like several weeks. It's a nice reminder of like, hey, you got this. It's okay. And thank you so much for the hydrate. Yes, we have been chatting for about an hour. So take a drink of something that hopefully is hydrating, but I'm not your mother, so like don't worry about it if it's not. But absolutely take a drink because you're almost certainly thirsty, even if you don't necessarily know. And stretch. You guys never see me stretch before, but there's a wall like right here. I think I was saying this in the last stream. There's a wall right here, and I really like pressing my palm against the wall and just stretching. This is how you know I'm not as young as I seem, because because I get really happy when I can stretch. And not that young people don't enjoy stretching, but I feel like there's a point at which you just enjoy stretching. It just feels so much better than when, I don't know. I don't remember stretching feeling this nice when I was a teenager. to put it bluntly. That might just be a me thing though. I don't know. Anyway, everybody stretch. Check your posture in case you've been slumping. I do that a lot because all of my illnesses are like in my abdomen. It can be really difficult for me to have a decent posture because everything hurts. So yeah, check your posture if you're somebody who needs it. And also, you don't believe that I'm as old as you are until I catch you. I'm not old. Well, I don't know how old you are, Dragon, but I also don't want you to give that information out on the internet. So but yeah, I'm definitely a millennial. So if you are older than a millennial, then you're older than me. But yeah. What am I saying? There was something I was gonna say. Oh, I was gonna say, oh, you're Gen X. Yeah, I am kind of in that millennial. I'm on the, well, I guess I'm in the middle of the millennial generation. Maybe slightly closer to the earlier side. I don't remember. But yes, I know a lot of Gen Xers. So yes, you are older than me. But slightly. The thing I was gonna say is also, since we've had hydrate, we've had stretch, one of the other things that I've been meaning to remind people of, just in case, is if you have any medications that you're supposed to be taking on a daily basis or something, or whatever basis, if you've forgotten your medications, make sure to take them. And yeah, that's your medication reminder check as well, just for anybody who needs medications and maybe forgets, like I do, to take medications. I've actually I had like one of those like trays and things, like pill. I don't remember what they're called. These things. I don't remember what they're called, but yeah, I had one. I was using the one that I just showed you for a while, and then my medications kind of died down, so I stopped using it, and then I stopped being able to remember if I had already taken a medication in a day or not, and and that was when I was like, all right, I should bring this back, actually, so that I can, at the very least, if I'm like, wait a minute, did I take that medication? I can at least look at something and understand if it's yes or no, rather than saying, oh, I don't remember if I've taken this, and if I have, then taking more would be a problem, but if I haven't, then not taking it is a problem, that sort of thing. You had a medication alarm go off and just muted it. Yes, absolutely. If I do the exact same thing, I'll be like, oh yeah, no, I'll remember to take that, and then I forget. Hello, Catman, welcome on in. Thank you so much for the follow. We're currently working on a smelter in a tunnel of my base. But yeah, hopefully, welcome on in. Enjoy. You can't. This is a closed server, so there are other people on this server, but it's a whitelist server. So unfortunately, we can't add other people to the server. But you're welcome. You're welcome to hang out and chat and such. What did I? You're barely not a millennial, but if I ask your younger brothers. The sound fades during the screen transition. That's annoying because it shows it as being there still. But that's good to know. Thank you for letting me know, Lazugod. I had been kind of repeating things that I said during the transition, or at least trying to, because I wasn't sure if it did. But it, like, for my screen, it'll be like, oh yeah, your audio is still going and it still works. I'm like, oh, well, don't tell me that's what's happening if that's not what's happening. But anyway, that's good to know. I will not talk during screen transitions in the future, or at least I'll try my best to remember not to do that. It's there, but it's like I'm walking between microphones. Oh, weird, because it's the same microphone. Gets distant and then louder again. That's really weird, because it's the same microphone. Or at least it's supposed to be. It's the same audio source. That's odd. That's interesting. I wonder why that is. Or maybe, I guess if it softens the mic in order to play a sound in the transition, but I don't have any sound in my transition, so it's like defaulting to, if you had sound, this would be a useful thing. I don't know. That's my nerdy digital stuff brain trying to figure out why it does the thing it does. I have no idea if I'm remotely correct. Could be. Yeah, it's like a fade, but doesn't go away completely. Ah, weird. Yeah, because it's the same microphone. It's this microphone, which I use mostly because this room, while small, is like the most echoey room in existence, outside of like a cathedral or something. And, oh, I should probably sleep. And so I do have a larger mic, but I don't have like a mount for it so there are two things. One is that I don't have a mount for it that allows it to not, oh, I've jumped the gun here. Let me pick up some more materials. I don't have a mount for it that doesn't kind of absorb the shock of pushing buttons on a keyboard, so you would just be hearing a lot of keyboard, residual keyboard noise, basically. Or the other thing, what am I saying? The other thing, there's another reason, there's another thing. Oh, the other thing with the mic, because this is an echoey space, that mic, because it's a better mic, it's actually a better quality mic, but it actually doesn't, it picks up more noise than this mic does. So even though this mic probably sounds a bit echoey, my good mic will be worse. And I can't do as many filters in OBS that I usually do in like Premiere Pro to minimize the echo on my videos. And I've tried with soundproofing materials, or like non-echoey, like trying to reduce echo. So it's better than it used to be, but it's still not great, which is annoying on a number of levels. Makes sense, actually, as most transitions have sound. Yeah, I haven't put sound to my transition. I maybe should, but it's kind of a longer transition, and I'm not entirely sure that the transition might change over time. I'm not the best artist, so there are things like my logo and stuff, like that kind of graphic art I'm pretty good at, but stuff that's like, that involves people or scenes, I'm not very good at. So there's a part of me that is kind of hesitant to what am I saying? There's a part of me that's hesitant to kind of add sound and such to the transition, because I'm not entirely sure the transition is going to stay the way that it is, if that makes sense. Or it's supposed to soften the transition between scene sounds. That's true. Sound suppressant needs to be added to my wish list. I have some like foam. I love how I'm looking around in Minecraft, but I have some foam like right in front of like where I'm talking. There is foam, but it's not enough to, and that's, so the other thing is I have this lovely piece, this thing. So this is like a really beautiful blanket that I got in the Philippines. When I did a dig in the Philippines, the project had to purchase bedding for everybody. So we were at a market, there were a bunch of blankets like this in different colors, and so we got like a bunch of blue and green and red ones, and I ended up with a green one. And at the end of the dig, the director didn't want to have to cart all of the blankets back to the States themselves, and the Filipino team didn't really need them. So they said, all right, everybody, take your own blanket and bring it back next year. And then there wasn't, well, I didn't go the next year. but I ended up with this blanket, and it's really, really pretty, and I really like it a lot. but it doesn't like to hang anywhere in this room because there's like kind of this spackly kind of wall finishing on the wall behind me, so stuff doesn't really stick. And because this is the UK, a lot of houses are made out of stone or brick. Our building is made out of, well, probably our stone is basically like a red sandstone. So drilling holes is not the easiest of things to do. So I haven't really sorted out this, but I do really like it, and I kind of want it back there. And I feel like if I could get this to hang, that would help with the echo. But yeah, I haven't been successful. If I had music in one and different music in another, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. For the first few days, you were convinced my logo was a duck, which only serves to demonstrate how great it is. I wish my logo was a duck. I seriously considered it. A friend of mine who also streams, I know that I'm just now talking instead of actually decorating, so I promise I will decorate things. A friend of mine who also streams had some resources for like the follow stuff and the subs and such, and I saw one that was ducks. It was just like entirely ducks, and I was like, I am so tempted. I am so tempted, but technically my brand is not ducks. so I didn't do the ducks. But I almost did. I very much almost did. I think I do like with these other two rooms, I like having one of the colors kind of continue around. And like here it's the blue that continues around, here it's the orange. And I don't know which one I would do here. Probably I could do the orange, or I could do the, I mean, I've got it so that's kind of the orange that goes, but I could do the yellow, only because I did orange over there. So I feel like I should do the yellow here. This is the smelter room. Yeah, let's do yellow, because yellow is, orange is a color. It's a very smart thing to say. Orange is a color. I have a PhD, but it's a color that applies to, that is relevant to smelting, but it's also not like, I don't know. I'm going with yellow. Let's go with that. I think yellow is gonna work better. Oh no, you guys, this is a good afternoon. I'm functional as a person, as a thing. I have a PhD. I swear. I actually do. Like, it's literally in the other room. It's like I could go get it, but I'm not going to because it's a lot. I just also can't speak English anymore, apparently. But let's do this. The downside to this is that there's, like, I'm using so much more deep slate than I think I will, because I always forget exactly how many blocks fit into like a design like this kind of situation. I do want that to be a double wall, like, so that we can have one color in here and one color on the other side. It would be like here. Yeah, I think that's okay, because it's just a stock room. So I don't know if I explained that terribly well. I was trying to decide if I should dig this out and make it a continuation of this wall, or if this would be a continuation of this wall, because I want there to be two different colors going around, so that it's not just like the yellow of this ends up in that room, because that's purple and white. So yeah, but I think I'm gonna make this part of this room so that this room has more space. And it can always expand if it needs to. I'm not gonna make it huge today, but we're at least gonna do the smelting room, and then we'll see what we're doing in terms of time, because it might be nice to hop over. Granted, I haven't actually I haven't played around in 120. I've seen a bit of people. I've seen other people playing in 120, but I have not done it myself. But I think it would be kind of cool to do on stream, unless you guys are less interested in that, in which case let me know. Let's see, we'll do that, and then I need more deep slate, don't I? Yeah. So much deep slate. I should just bring like all my deep slate. Yellow is good. Yeah, yellow's a nice color. I like yellow. It's one of my favorites. I do like a lot of colors. Okay, I don't have huge amounts of deep slate, but that's fine because again, we're just doing the smelting area, and then I can find more deep slate. I mean, I need to go mining for some diamond ore anyway, so I can just go mining in the deep slate levels and go from there. Let's get some more of this. That'll get used, even if it doesn't get used here. There might be people who aren't interested in camels. Yeah, there's some people who are not thrilled about the camels, and I don't really know how that. I don't know how that's possible personally. I'm super excited about the camels. I mean, I guess I can understand, but I'm a big fan of the camels. I like the camels. They sound really cool. And we'll see. Like they have. I like that there are things that differentiate them from horses and mules and donkeys and such, and llamas, because they also have to differentiate them from llamas. So this was an interesting thing that Ulraf was talking about on stream yesterday, that one of the things that that they had to consider was not only how the camels would be different to the horses and horses and donkeys and mules, but also that llamas are another mount style animal. Oh, I needed the yellow wool. That they also need to be different from. And so in order to basically make them their own thing and interesting enough for people to grab themselves, if that makes sense. So that was, I thought that was interesting. And it's one of the reasons why, at the moment at least, you can't put a chest on a camel, because they wanted that to be a bit different to... Oh, that doesn't match up, does it? Let's do this then. Which I know I'm burying materials, but whatever, it's fine. Oh, but then you can't see that. Okay. No, this is not the right tool, but whatever. But this is outside. And I don't want that to be visible outside. Well, it's just gonna look slightly weird. Or can I, you know what, let's make it symmetrical. Let's do this. And that way it looks slightly less weird. If you can't quite get the design you want, make it symmetrical and it'll feel like it works. That's what I'm gonna say. Hang on, let me go sleep. And then I'll catch up on chat. Let me also sleep before I forget, because I forget a lot of things. Forgetting to sleep is bad. You're here for me, stream what I want to stream. That's so nice of you guys. You guys are great. I like you guys. You're pretty great. Let me also see what else. Hang on. Let me see what else is in the chat. Hey, people and camels. You have a couple of emerald ore you can trade. Ooh, that might be nice, because I am nowhere near the mountains. So emeralds are not really something I get terribly much of. Camels are really good when you see them animated. Yeah, they're really, I love, like, there are things I love about the camel. Mostly their ears. I love their ears so much. They're so cute. It's great. One thing you don't like about the camel is that they lay down, which reminds you that other animals don't get to lay down. Yeah, so the camels, the other thing to keep in mind about the camels, and this was something that, again, I heard Ulraf talking about last night, they won't lay down if you are on them. So for anybody who's like, well, if the camel lies down while I'm on top of it and I'm surrounded by zombies, it won't do that if you have tamed the camel. If you haven't tamed the camel and the camel's just wandering where it wants to, with you happening to just be riding it until it kicks you off, then it may lie down when you're surrounded by mobs, and that might be a difficult thing. But yeah, that's that's the gist. Oh no, sorry, wrong thing. Sometimes I'm so used to like hitting escape to go to a different window that I forget that actually that means that you guys can't see anything, and I should hit a different key. That discussion was interesting. Yeah, the bit about the chests and the camels and 2 players and such. I highly recommend like listening to streams by some of the dev team, because a lot of them do stream, and there's a lot of discussions about what goes into the decisions that they make or how long certain discussions took. You know, there were bits last night, I think, where Ulraf was talking about how it took, like, there was like a 3-hour long meeting about some of these things, or like days of discussion for certain specific things. And part of it is, you know, a lot of the stuff that people end up often criticizing the dev team for, because you know, modders can do it really quickly, why can't the dev team kind of situation. Number one, modders don't have to make it accessible in Java, mobile, and Bedrock edition, so that's something to keep in mind. But also, for any change that the devs make, it could break somebody's base, right? So if they change the functionality of a block, even just like this tiny minor thing, it could mean that somebody who's been playing in a world for the last 5 years, suddenly it just destroys half of what they've been working on for 5 years. And so they're really trying to be as careful as they can be when they make these updates, and to make sure that it doesn't just automatically break other stuff. And I'm not saying that modders do that, it's more just that there's a lot more that the devs for the game itself need to do, coordinating with each other and coordinating within the game, to be able to make sure that it actually works for everybody as best it can. Whereas with modding, for example, you don't necessarily need to make it work across all the platforms. And a lot of the time, you know, there's a reason that there's that little thing at the beginning when you get a mod pack. It says, you know, this may end up corrupting your world at random points, and you're okay, you know, tick the box to say you're okay with that kind of situation. And a lot of mod packs don't, like, they're perfectly fine to play in, and I play in a lot of them. But it is important to remember that, like, a certain amount of the risk that we accept with mod packs, we wouldn't be accepting with Minecraft as a game by itself necessarily. Upside down stair with a light source, maybe? Yeah, I could. The ears, yeah, they're so good. So often with new mobs, there's a functionality that you really wish other mobs had. Yes. I know that they're looking at, as I sit here staring, what am I doing in this? Anyway, what am I trying to get? I'm trying to get andesite, but I have, like, no andesite. Okay, alright. I also need some copper. I like having, it's a bit of a weird roof, but I kind of like it. And I don't know why exactly, but it works. It makes it, I don't know, it makes it not as dark. I don't know if the copper necessarily adds anything of value, but I'm gonna pretend it does, at least for now. But yeah, I think that was another thing that Olaf and also Chi was saying on Twitter in the last few days, is that they are looking at older mobs and trying to kind of update. Oh wait, I say I need copper, it's literally right there, hang on. But I do need andesite. They are looking at older mobs and thinking about ways of updating their animations and the way that people interact with them and what they do in the game. But the difficulty, again, is that because they're older mobs, that does require kind of changing a certain amount of code and such. But also, it's there are a lot of mobs, and so doing it for every mob can be really difficult to do kind of all at once, basically. I need iron. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that I'm setting up a smelter, and therefore I need iron. But yeah, so it was a really interesting discussion, and I highly recommend having a look when you can. The domino effect could break things or allow things they don't want to allow. Exactly. And the other thing is, even if it doesn't necessarily have a domino effect right now, it's something that they also need to kind of future-proof against a domino effect in the future, or at least an unintentional domino effect in the future. So there's a lot of stuff that ends up getting thought of and considered when trying to build, you know, these things, to build this game. That's English words. I can word good. But yeah, I think, and as somebody who isn't really a game dev, but has been, I haven't been working on digital games, but I've been working on a tabletop RPG for the better part of a year. There's a lot more that goes into a lot of these things than a lot of people think. And certainly, you know, like, you kind of expect it to be a lot of work, but it's not, it doesn't like hit you over the head until you're kind of working on one and you're like, oh gosh, okay, yeah, this takes time and energy and effort from a single person over an extended period of time. So for carved in stone, for example, there's just, I'm not doing this right. This is not a blast furnace. This is a smoker. That's not what I want. Blast furnaces are going to be complicated, aren't they? Because they involve some kind of stone. Ugh. I hate the recipes that involve smooth stone. Okay, all right. Let's get some stone smelting. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this. I'm also gonna grab this polished andesite because actually that could be really useful. Can you? I don't know if you can change andesite slabs in a stone cutter to polished andesite slabs, but that would be helpful if I could. That would be nice. Cobble for furnaces? Yeah, I do need that. I'm also just realizing that I don't have enough smooth stone, so so yeah. All right, you can't. All right, I didn't think you could, but I thought it was worth checking. Here, let's put this over here. Cobble. Let's see what cobblestone I have. It's on this side. Why do I always get the sides wrong? It'll be close enough. Let's do furnaces. 11 is, oh, because I have the deep slate. I don't know that I want to use my deep slate on that. So let's do this. 8 works. Let's do 8. Which is technically 9. Did I just make that one? Or, yeah, okay, all right. I'm just forgetting what I've done so far. Don't mind me. I'm just forgetful. It's all fine. You kind of want an animal update. Hang on, wait a minute. You kind of want an animal update. It's not like they haven't had updates where they updated old mobs before, like Village and Pillage. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. If they did like an animal, certainly the animations kind of stuff, but even just maybe if they wanted to, adding some more elements to different animals, that would be really cool. As a designer for your current employer, spent months deciding on a new cover for a product, so you get the discussion part for sure. You weren't dealing with something nearly as complicated as Minecraft is. Yeah, and there's an ad break. Thank you so much for saying that, Robert. I know I keep saying that when you can't hear me, so I will do my best to remember. Yes, so the thing I was gonna do, the reason that I came back down here is I'm gonna just grab this, get 4 chests. We're gonna do some hoppers, and then I'm gonna just set up a really quick smelter here. How am I doing this? I mean, this is not gonna be the greatest. That's also not gonna work. And I also need to sleep. Okay, all right. We'll do a smelter, and then and by then probably Robert will be back from the ad break. Robert and anybody else who's in the ad break will be back from the ad break. Okay. So you know how on Windows there's like the thing that it'll tell you the weather in the bottom corner, and a lot of the time it'll potentially be wrong about the weather, but it tells you in the bottom corner near the time. I keep I keep looking at that and seeing it say raining now, and I'm like, but it's not raining. And I look around Minecraft, I'm like, it's not raining. And my brain is just like, that makes perfect sense, and it doesn't. It doesn't at all. But anyway, okay, and back. Excellent. So I'm gonna be making a fairly simple smelter. I'm just gonna do, I guess I have to do it this way. So basically for anybody who hasn't made a smelter before, there's a furnace here. This is like a super simple semi-auto smelter. It's not really auto smelting necessarily, but at least it will for materials. So I'm gonna put a hopper going into the furnace there, and then I'm gonna put a hopper from the furnace into the chest, And then basically I'm going to take some stone that I need to get more of because I keep putting it back in chests. But let's just get a bunch of stone, because why not? It's all good. So I'm gonna put stone, and that's the other stone, and then I'm just gonna put you can put another hopper behind that goes into the back of the furnace, and that can be your fuel sources. But I'm not gonna worry too much about that. And I'm gonna do this. And then you do get your buckets, but basically when the stone fires, it will go through the hopper down into the chest below. This is the same setup that I have with my composter, it's just with a furnace instead. And you get smooth stone. And I can put as much stone as I want up here, and it'll fire through a bunch of it. Well, it'll fire through 100 of them, which is good. So I don't have to sit here and babysit the furnace, basically. It does mean we have to wait a little bit before I have blast furnaces, but also with a smelter, you don't always want, you don't want only blast furnaces in a smelter, because even though they're faster, they only smelt certain materials. So if you do want to smelt, say, glass or nether bricks, or I don't know, anything that isn't metal or coal, basically. There's some other things, but it's basically, the blast furnaces are basically for your metals, your iron ores, and, well, your raw iron or copper or something like that. So yeah. How many have we got? 6. That's enough for 2 blast furnaces. We'll start the ball rolling on the blast furnaces. There it is. Excellent. Blast furnaces are also fairly expensive for iron. And there is something... So I guess a question becomes, do I want like a wall of blast furnaces? I guess I could. If I have that many things I want to fire. But I probably only need like 2. If I'm really honest. Cook food. Yes, I could cook food. That's very true. I remembered to eat. It didn't take your comment for me to remember to eat. Granted, I wasn't that hungry, but I remembered. Yeah. Blast furnace. Now, do smokers, this is a question, because smokers are useful, or often more useful for food. Yeah, I might do that. I might do like 4 and 4. Or I could do 4 and then 2 and 2. Like, I could do smokers. Sorry, the question. Or buy pre-cooked food. Yes. So the smokers, I know they're good for like the meats and the fish and things. Are they also good for potatoes and such? Like crops, do they work better for baked potatoes? Only because I tend not to, like, I know that I do end up killing a bunch of mobs in this game, but I also don't like killing the mobs. I don't like going in and just like killing all of my cows. I like, yeah, so I'm just curious. Any food. All right, okay. Excellent. And yes, Dragon, I definitely caught that was a not so subtle shop promo. I probably should, in all honesty. But actually, I'll leave that here. So really, I don't necessarily need this many blast furnaces, but I will eventually, so it's fine. So if that is 4 chests per, then that's 12 plus 16 is 28 chests, right? Because of the hoppers? And it's 2 of those, so this is not going to be enough. 28 requires 56. Okay, I need... Let's do this for now. Let's do this for now. This is going to be a lot of chests. Mostly because it's a lot of hoppers. But at least it'll be slightly better than it has been. It's not going to be consigned to like the corner of my base anymore. Actually, let's do roughly half of these as hoppers. Okay, well, we're doing 6 of them as hoppers. And then I need to go get more iron. No! Oh, wait, hang on. I forgot about this. I mean, I suppose it could be a double chest. It's not like it necessarily matters. I just don't want this one, like, it's just easier sometimes to have separate chests, only because I don't want them constantly... Or I could have hoppers all the way down to a single chest. You think mostly you use smokers to smelt kelp? Oh, I didn't realize. I mean, that makes sense because it's a food. This goes to show how much I use smokers. I didn't realize they could also do kelp. That's really good to know. Which you use to smelt more kelp. Yeah. Only for food you're unsure of for smokers is chorus fruit. Ah, we'll have to figure that out once we actually go to the end, which I do think we're gonna do relatively soon. I would like for the people, like, there's been delays because some people on the server haven't been able to log on terribly much, but it at this point has also been a decent amount of time since the server came into existence, and I want the people who are on the server to be able to also get to the end and get elytra and things. So I'm thinking within the next few weeks, we'll probably start working on getting towards the end. So once we do, and I make that chorus fruit room, we can we can experiment with smokers and chorus fruit. I'm realizing I could save on chests, really, and put these hoppers all down towards a series of chests, basically. But I'm debating whether that's something I want to do or if I want more chest space. You can eat chorus fruit, yeah. No, I'm okay. I've got plenty of iron. Sorry, dragon. I don't need more iron. I've got plenty in my storage. I just only grabbed a certain amount of it. I should have grabbed more, that's all. You think it only works if the end result is food. Right. But chorus fruit... Does chorus fruit give saturation or, like, resolve hunger? Or is it just... Does it just teleport you? I guess it becomes that question. Popped chorus fruit is not edible. Right. Okay. No, that's true. That is very true. Yeah. Sorry, I was getting the order wrong. I was thinking of chorus fruit, not popped chorus fruit. Okay, so then it probably doesn't work with that. Why am I using a pick to do this? Okay. I think what I'm gonna do is have a double chest there, and then I'm gonna have another double chest. I don't want to limit the amount of chest space that this has access to, so I think I am gonna still more or less keep it the way that it was, if that makes sense. Going into a science world to test. Excellent. You can let us know. Okay, let's get chests. Ooh, that I don't think I want. But of course, this is going to end up there. I also don't want that. Let's do this, this, and this. Excellent. Okay. Just so that I can control what goes into each furnace, if that makes sense. And I haven't put in the hopper that does the fuel. I don't think I need the auto fuel yet. And I can change it once I do, basically. And then we'll do this, and we'll do that for smokers. Can't use chorus fruit in a smoker. Okay. Now you wonder if smokers do cactus. Oh, they don't as well. Okay. I guess because the cactus isn't edible once you've... Oh, why am I doing that? This is not... Okay, I need... I'm a functional human, I swear. Oh no, hang on, wait. Let's do this. I keep forgetting to hit shift. And then I'm gonna need to do one more... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Well, wait, 1 plus 8, so 9 more chests. But let's go sleep. And then we'll get 8 chests and some more iron to turn... Or no, we'll do 9 chests, and then we'll get more iron to turn 8 of those chests into hoppers. I will say I do like the larger kind of auto farm kind of... I'm a fan of redstone and similar stuff. I just don't know a lot of... Like, there's certain small farms that I remember by hand, and then there are others that I really just don't... I just don't quite understand how they work. So I haven't done like redstone or anything on stream really, because that's one of those things where it's like I need to be sitting and looking at a tutorial to figure out what exactly is happening, what exactly is going on. So so that's why we haven't done redstone. They'll probably, like, if I get to like an industrial size farm kind of situation, oops, nope, hang on. Then I'll probably have a blueprint or something and go from there. But for now, for now it's more like, all right, I'll figure out if I have redstone, I'll figure it out off camera. Just because it's a little bit easier for me to have stuff. I need the hoppers first. What do I need? 9 times 2 is 18. This. Oh, right. Okay. Hang on. Wait a minute. Let's just do this. We'll do this, and then we do this. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Ta-da. No. I forgot. So good. So good at this. Setting up filters can be obnoxious. Yeah. A single block filter would be amazing. That's mostly where, like, when it comes to redstone timers or filters, that's where my brain just starts not understanding anymore. It's just like, this is more complicated than my brain can handle. I get like halfway through it and I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. And then it gets to like a comparator doing something that isn't like the most obvious thing a comparator does or something. Or like when there's more than like 5 or 6 redstone components in a row, I'm just like, I've lost track of where we are. so yes, if redstone could condense a little bit, once it's condensed, if it's on a small scale, I'm like, yes, I understand what's happening. As soon as it gets to a large scale, I'm like, I need to think. Hello. Oh gosh, Roelmote13. I have probably butchered your name, but hello and welcome on in. We're building a smelting room. It's not an auto smelter. At the moment, it's just a smelting room, but I wanted to have one. I've got a tunnel under my base that's basically a bunch of different little rooms kind of off to the side. So I've built a couple of them already. This one is stone generators, well, stone and then basalt. And then this one is just like a more decorative thing / storage for ores and things. This chest won't be there in the end, but it is while I build the rest of this. So that's what we're doing. But welcome on in. You're slowly learning. A friend did a Redstone 101 stream that was really helpful. Yeah, I know what each of the redstone components do by themselves. Once they start getting combined with things, that's where I start to struggle. But I think we've got the smelting part of this, so let me do the roof, or the ceiling, or yeah, ceiling. Let's grab... I've been kind of doing a combination of the andesite slabs and then some of the stairs, but let's start with slabs, because I like having the glowstone visible. And what did I do? Did I do like... Yeah, okay. I did it so that it's fully connected with the stone, and then it's the copper that doesn't necessarily connect in the corners. And I promise that makes sense in my head. I will, once I do the copper, so basically like these, I don't skip this corner, but with the copper, I'll skip that corner, is how I've been doing it. So I guess I'll keep doing it that way. Yeah, I think I'd rather have it be slabs than stairs on this one. I do have stairs in places, like over here I've had stairs around, but I think if I do that here, I don't think it'll stop the chests from opening, but I think it'll look a little weird. And I can, here, let me, before I make a stair that I regret, a regretful stair, let's just see what this would look like, the chests. But I think it's gonna look weird. Yeah, it just kind of looks a little odd. I think I prefer this to that, I think. So, let's put this back, and let's put the stair back. And then I'm gonna, what'll I do? I'll probably do the copper first, I think. Let's just go with 2 for now, because 16 might be enough, or it might not be. Could make it symmetrical. Oh gosh, so many of you talking. Hang on. Whoa, I missed so much chat. Hang on, wait a minute. You like sticky pistons, Redstone? I do like sticky pistons. They're one of those things where, like, the base thing that a sticky piston does, I understand. But once it gets combined with other things, then I get confused. So like a redstone elevator, I love the idea of a redstone elevator, but I don't know how to make one. And like if somebody asked me to describe what each piece is doing, I wouldn't be able to. But I like them. One thing you need to do is add pistons to your mud processor. Yeah. That, especially since you're selling mud, are you, I haven't been around your base, Lazugod, but I'm guessing you're also building out of mud, given the general theme of what I saw your base to be. Your friend also went over basic clocks and such, but you've also been just messing around and asking questions when others are building redstone things. That's really cool. Yeah, so you don't have to walk around and aim when placing dirt. Okay. You think somebody's being transphobic? How is somebody being transphobic? Okay. Right. I mean, I'm non-binary, so that's not what? Nobody's doing anything talking about gender at all. Yeah, okay. All right. There's a lot of mud and terracotta. Yeah, because you're doing kind of like a Spanish style, or it reminds me of a Spanish style, like, building, or like Mediterranean style almost, but I could also see it being central, like, it could be several other regions too. It looks very cool, or at least it looked very cool when I last saw it. I have not seen it, recently, but nope, that was the wrong place. But yeah, I do need to do like a server tour kind of thing. Just to see people's bases. I know I keep saying that, but Spanish Californian stuff, yes, that makes sense too. Yeah, I agree, Dragon. We don't really need someone accusing us of transphobia for no reason. Unless, I mean, like, I don't know, there could be something, but I highly doubt it. Along with other styles that you're less familiar with. That's really cool. Okay, I need 12 for that. 12, 13, 14, 15. Plus 4. I can count. 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, so just so I don't make too many of the slabs. And then we'll just do the middle. And I need a light source for this area, probably, because a torch in the center is not exactly the best of light sources. I'm not going to worry too much about lanterns yet, because I don't exactly know what kind of light source I want in here, like in the tunnel as a whole. But we'll see. We'll see. There might be lanterns eventually, and I don't know. I'll put a block there or something and put a lantern from it or something. But I like this. I feel like this looks pretty good, right? I mean, it works. It's a symmetrical roof, so that's a first for this tunnel. And yeah, and it works a lot nicer and easier than the smelting setup in my house. I don't know if I'll get rid of the smelting setup in my house. I might, like, consolidate it. I might make it a little smaller, but the house is kind of small, so I don't really know exactly. But yeah, it looks great. Thank you. I like it, and I like having these little rooms. Even if I, like the stone generator thing, I might not use it for terribly much, but I like the idea of being able to use it, I guess, is the is the thing. And also part of it, like when building in Minecraft, I'm definitely one of those people that likes to think about what a society would need. So like when building a base, I don't tend to think of it as me building my personal space that I don't share with anybody else. Even though obviously that's kind of what it is. I like to think of kind of building livable areas. Oh, that was loud gurgling. That was very noisy. Very noisy. I'm just surprised at how noisy that gurgling is. But yeah, I like kind of building societies, I guess, if that makes sense. So there's a certain degree to which the rooms down here aren't necessarily, like, they have a small amount of functionality, but they aren't necessarily going to be the most functional things in the world. In part because we're also, as those of you who've been around for this stream know, we're kind of building up to larger and larger things, in a sense, or building into different things, I guess, if that makes sense. So, so there's gonna be, like, bigger buildings or more extensive buildings and things. But for now, we're kind of keeping it at the scale that we need it to be, but also thinking of things like, what does this society need to function in the Minecraft universe? So a smelter, probably. Some kind of, I like the idea, this one, of being like a guild of some sort of like people who effectively protect the settlement from harm. We're reaching a point where rather than this being like a single person's dwelling, we're starting to get into supporting multiple different families, for example. So there are going to be some houses that I build that are just houses, and they don't necessarily have a function per se. They're there to be houses, and we're gonna start doing that, and we're gonna find that it starts creeping over towards this cave area, in some direction. Whether it goes this direction or kind of this direction, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll figure it out as we go. You like that furnaces light up the surrounding area when they're lit? Yeah, I do too. You don't know if it's practical for anything, but you like it. Yeah, I think if you have your smelter on constantly, it can act as a really nice light source, or if you're down in the mines and you've run out of torches, and you're just kind of like in this tiny little cave, it can be really helpful to be able to see what's happening while you make some more coal to make more torches. I think early game it's very practical. After that, it depends. But yeah, it could be useful for automation of life in a build. That's true. Yeah, especially if you had like a redstone timer to put things into the furnace so that it kind of lit up and then would burn through the fuel that it had and then stopped. That could be really cool. I love how I say that, and Clara has literally already typed that out. So yeah, that would be really, really cool. Yeah, I like that idea. Okay, we've done a certain amount of work in this tunnel. The other thing, I was gonna talk about, like, archaeologically this tunnel. That was part of my thought when starting, and I totally forgot. But, basically, so one of the things that I did want to kind of highlight with this is that we all know that I have built this tunnel after I have built, at the moment, everything up here. Oops, sorry, grass. Everything up here. But archaeologists in the future won't necessarily know that. And that's an important thing to recognize, especially in Minecraft, where, you know, a cave in dirt, the dirt doesn't just collapse. Like, gravity works differently in Minecraft. But with this tunnel, like in archaeology, we get tunnel systems a lot. It's significantly easier if people are like, oh, we built a tunnel system in 1506. And I was like, excellent. That's when the tunnels were built. And we do often get things like that in periods and regions where there were written documents. But a lot of the time, if nobody wrote down that that tunnel was created then, we only have so many ways that we can tell that this was created before the stuff on top of it. One of those is if this collapses. Well, if this collapses, then that would be on top, and we would probably say, oh, maybe this was built before the tunnel, but actually, even then, we couldn't say that. If this area, you know, if there's like dirt and such on this area that gets tracked into this entryway here, that will give us a bit of a horizon for like dirt that exists on both sides of this opening. But then when we dig further down here, we have different levels of dirt, and then we run out of dirt. Like we run into the stone here. So say you have different layers of dirt. Let's say we've got like a brown dirt and a red dirt. Okay. Here, how can I demonstrate this? Let me get some gravel. Okay. Let me show you this, because I think it'll be easier to understand if I give a brief synopsis thing. Demonstration. Actually, let me not use gravel. Let me use sand, just because that's got a color difference. Okay, so say we have between our cave entrance and the outside pathway, right? We have outside pathway as this, and then a bit of stone, and then it has the dirt, right? So this dirt is like the dirt that happened after I built the path. Say the andesite is the path, right? And then underneath that, we have sand, okay? Even if this path were dirt, on this side of things, we're going to have not sand, right? Because it's stone. It's going to be a different kind of stone. So let's call it basalt, because that's easier. And then we have the floor of the build. And then we have this dirt, right? So you can see how the dirt that's on both of them is the same. The floor, I mean, I've made them the same. They're technically not, but you can see the floors on both of them. And then when you get below the floor of the cave, it goes to a different type of stone. And this sand is not inside in the same way that the dirt is inside, okay? If it were an open area, the dirt would be blowing, the sand, I mean, if it were an open area in this period, the early period, then sand would be blowing into the cave. So this wouldn't be from my floor onto, say, basalt. It would be from my floor onto a layer of sand that is then on top of a layer of basalt. Because it's not on the sand, we can say, oh, right, this opening didn't exist when sand existed here. Okay? So that means that here, these two things being floors, we know that the tunnel was built after this sand layer was deposited. There's an ad break. Okay. I won't go too much further. Is that making sense to you guys, or am I totally butchering this this explanation? Before campfires were introduced, you did do a build-in creative test. Oh, I shouldn't be reading Robert's message while they're on an ad break. It makes sense. Okay, good. Let me know if it doesn't. You're following. Cool. Okay. I'll wait until Robert's back before I resume the explanation. Oh, that's cool. You're following. All good. Excellent. Cool. Okay. You think you're following. All right. Yeah, it's a little bit harder to demonstrate in Minecraft. I mean, it is, but there are complexities in Minecraft, because I can't do like a half slab of sand into here. But basically, if this sand, if the tunnel opening were here when the sand existed, then some of the sand would be between the floor and the basalt. Because it isn't, that's why we can say the opening didn't exist yet, because there's none of this sand in the entryway. And you're back. Okay, you didn't miss any of the explanation, Robert. I was just repeating some of it, just to make sure that it was that it made relative sense. I like the idea of putting a furnace into the floor as a pretend fireplace so it can light stuff up. That's really cool. Yeah, so when it comes to archaeology, we have two different kinds of dating methods. Which, yes, the puns that can happen with archaeological dating methods have been done. There are many. There's even a game, there's a video game called C14 Dating, and it's a dating sim. It's kind of great. so we have two different main types of dating methods. We have absolute dating methods and we have relative dating methods. So, relative dating methods, well, let me sleep. Let me just, oh, I'm way early to sleep, I feel like. Relative dating methods is basically what came before other stuff. So we don't have years that we assign to things. We just are trying to figure out what happened first, what happened next, what happened next. So in these, if we were in, let me get to where you can actually kind of see these. If we were in the real world, right, and we had a layer of dirt and a layer of andesite and a layer of sand, the thing that happened first in reality, because gravity works, the thing that happened first would be the sand, because gravity works, and then the andesite, and then the dirt, right? Because you can't have the dirt on top of andesite if the andesite doesn't exist before the dirt, right? And you can't have the andesite on top of the sand if the sand didn't exist before the andesite does. I will sleep, and there's one big exception to that, or there are a couple exceptions. For added fun, be an archaeologist who also grows date palms. Date palms. Yes, absolutely. Oh man, my brain. So let me get rid of this for a second and make these both the same. Okay, so we'll get the sand back. So let me do this, and then we do this, and then we do this. And this is what's called stratigraphy in archaeology, which is it sounds like a very complicated word. It basically just means the way that layers of material lie on top of each other in the ground, effectively. There's definitely a much better definition of that, but I would have to look it up, and I'm not going to for the precise wording. But basically what it means is, the sand is one layer, the andesite is another, the dirt is another, and we can see those layers in the soil. I know andesite's a stone, but you get the idea. We know in reality that sand would be there before the andesite would be there before the stone. In Minecraft, that's not exactly the case. With sand, that's a gravity block, so anything underneath the sand, it would work the same way as reality. But I can take the sand out in Minecraft, right? And I can just put, I don't know, basalt in. Well, let's do these chiseled deep slate. I can just put that in. And now we don't know which happened. We can't, in Minecraft, say for sure that this deep slate happened before the andesite. And this is kind of a big deal in archaeology, because this is the entire theory that underpins a lot of our archaeological understanding of the world. The ability to say something came before something else based on gravity. So the fact that gravity doesn't work in Minecraft also means that archaeology in Minecraft becomes increasingly difficult, because it just doesn't, I can't say for sure that the sand actually came before the andesite necessarily, or the andesite came before the dirt. But in reality, we can. Okay, so let's go back to reality, to how archaeology works in the real world. So I was talking about how we have two different kinds of dating methods. We have relative dating and we have absolute dating. And relative dating, as I said, is what comes first and what comes later. When it comes to a cave situation, the example I was giving, where say we have the example, what am I at? Oh, I took my shovel out, but that's fine. Pretend that's natural stone. We have, say, the sand outside of our cave entrance area, and then inside it goes into stone. So we have a floor that's kind of the same, and dirt from a later period that's the same, but before that we see a difference. We can say that this is when this tunnel was made, basically. Or the tunnel was made after these two things were deposited in the ground. That's the only real relative dating that we can do in a cave or in a tunnel system like that. Unless somebody says we dug a tunnel in this year or something, or even if they reference something that we don't know the exact year of, but we can kind of roughly say the century. If nobody writes it down, and we don't have something like this, then we have to rely on absolute dating methods. Absolute dating methods are things like radiocarbon dating, which is probably the most common one that people have heard of. Radiocarbon dating requires, here, let me get a shovel. Radiocarbon dating requires carbon because it's radiocarbon dating. And basically it means that when you have a piece of charcoal or coal, I mean, like we call them both. I mean, we just call it charcoal, really. You can measure the amount of carbon that's in a like a carbon-based material, and judge from when that material, basically when you're alive, when you're breathing, you're exchanging carbon, various isotopes of carbon, you're exchanging them with the atmosphere. So we're kind of at equilibrium, right? When an organism dies, they stop exchanging carbon with the atmosphere, and the carbon that's inside of that organism starts to decay at a predictable half-life rate, okay? So, or a predictable rate, let's go with that. So basically you can measure how much carbon of a certain isotope they have in their system, and that will tell you a rough estimate of exactly how long ago that organism died, right? So that's why we do radiocarbon dating. It doesn't give you a precise year. It's not like you can test it and it'll say, you know, you get the results back and it says 1457, and that's like definitely the year. You don't, it's no. What it does is it tests, it gives you a range, and that's within a standard deviation. Like the first standard deviation, and then usually people will push it out to the second standard deviation. So if you remember from statistics and whenever you had to do standard deviations, basically it's that bell curve. And so the first one is like 70%, well, it's 68.5% certainty or accuracy. The second one is 95, and then the third one is 98. So we tend to go to the 95th percent sure that it happened within this range. And so what you often get with radiocarbon dates is it'll be like 1450 plus or minus 50 to 100 years. Okay, and sometimes it'll be less depending on the time period. Sometimes it can be plus or minus 20 years, which is really nice. That's a really short window. It's a really narrow window. But when you work in the Iron Age and early medieval period of Europe, like I do, you run into, you end up with significantly longer ranges. And there's a complex reason for that I can get into if you're curious, but yeah. So radiocarbon dating is one of those absolute dating methods where you can get a range of dates. You can also do dendrochronology. So if we, dendrochronology basically looks at its tree ring dating. So we look at pieces of wood that we find at a site. If we have pieces of wood that have their bark, that is ideal for this sort of thing. Now, it has to be in a region where people have been doing tree ring dating studies for a long time, and there's like an established chronology there. Oh, thank you so much for the hydrate, Clara. Everybody take a drink. You're probably thirsty. I know I am. I mean, I've been talking this whole time, but you're probably thirsty too. So take a drink. And also, as per usual, well, I say per usual, I've only done it once, but if you had any medication alarms go off or anything, remember that if you haven't done the medication stuff, you should make sure to take your pills if you need to. Make sure to take your medications if you need to. Yeah, so with tree ring dating, it's basically counting the tree rings. So different trees will form 2 rings a year, I believe. Oh gosh, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 a year. And the width of those rings change depending on the growing situation of the tree. So if it's, say, like a relatively dry year, the tree rings are smaller. If it's a relatively, I don't want to say like a relatively wet year, but if it's like a year that is good for tree growth, then the tree ring will be thicker for that year. Well, the tree rings will be thicker for that year. So what you can do is match the pattern of narrow rings and thick rings to each other to get at when the piece of wood was cut down. Yeah, optimal growing conditions, exactly. So basically, there are a lot of things for dendrochronology in Europe and also for North America for certain periods. It really depends. Like, we don't really have Iron Age dendrochronology, I don't think, at least not in Scotland. I could be wrong on that, but I have not seen people dating stuff dendrochronology-wise. But basically what it means is, say we don't have any sources of carbon on this site, if somebody were excavating this, like 100 years from now, there are no sources of carbon, but we do have these bits of wood here, right? And those have their bark on them. So it gives us what's called a terminus postquem, or a date after which. It's a Latin term. There's a terminus antequem and a terminus postquem. And Latin. Basically it means if you have a piece of wood, right, you have the bark, so you know when it was cut down because you have the bark and then you have the tree rings inside of the bark. So it can be as accurate as a single year, really, if you have the bark. You don't always have the bark, but if you do, that means that whatever this wood was used to build, the building happened after this year of that final tree ring date, right? Because otherwise this tree can't have had that tree ring date inside of it. The downside is if you don't have the bark, then you still end up with that date after which, the terminus postquem, but it's like a much wider range. So if you wood that has wood in general can be kept for quite a long time depending on the conditions. Wood that has the bark on it is always nicer because you definitely know the date it was cut down. Wood that doesn't have the bark on it, so like this, we don't know if this is the outside of the tree ring, like the outermost tree ring that this log has. I mean, you and I do, because we just saw me do this, but archaeologists 100 years from now aren't going to know that this is the outside, the outside-most tree ring. So they have to assume that there could be more, and that this could have been cut down from a bigger tree, basically. Or almost shaved down from a bigger tree. So basically, we still get the terminus postquem, the day after which, right? It's still this latest tree ring, but we can't be sure that this tree ring was when the tree was cut. It could be that the tree was cut significantly later, and then it could have sat around for a while before it got put into a house. This one, we know exactly when it was cut. It could still have sat around for a while before it gets put into a house, but we at least know when it was cut, so it narrows the window a bit. I hope that makes sense. Dendrochronology is complicated a little bit to begin with, and it is an absolute dating method. I mean, it is, I shouldn't put air quotes. It's an absolute dating method, but only for the tree, right? So when it comes to the building, for example, we have an exact date for when the tree was cut if we have the bark with it. But you can, if any of you have lived in the countryside, you are well aware that you can cut down a tree and cut it into wood, and if you dry it well enough, you can actually keep that wood for a while with the bark on top of it, and then do whatever you want with it. So it's not exact, but it still counts as an absolute dating method, just not necessarily for the house. We don't know how long the tree was sitting in the lumberyard, basically. Exactly. So that's why it's a little bit of a range as well, and it does very much depend. So there's certain species of tree that we have more data on for this. So like oak trees in Europe, there's a massive amount of data for oak trees in Europe. But if you go to, like, I don't know, I mean, I don't remember exactly which ones are not super well known, but like an ash tree in New England or something in the northeastern United States or southeastern Canada. I'm not sure that there's huge amounts of information on that, or the time period. It could be that it hasn't been traced back far enough yet. So if you're working in, like, I don't know, 1287, that's the time period that you're focusing on. Well, the late 1200s, late 13th century. Dendrochronology for your region and your species of tree might exist, but it only goes until the late 15th century. It goes as far back as the late 15th century. So the late 13th century, you don't have the data for. So it kind of depends. There are ways that you can do absolute dating with, like, there's thermoluminescence dating, which is very complicated, and basically it has to do with, like, the heat of it's very complicated. I'm not even going to try to explain it because I'm not entirely sure I can without looking it up. There's stuff with, like, geothermal properties of certain materials, and then based on that, and there are also different sort of scientific tests you can do based on those sorts of things. But generally speaking, a lot of archaeologists tend to use either dendrochronology or radiocarbon dating for absolute dating methods, because those are the ones that are easiest to get samples for. And they also generally cover the widest range of archaeological material, and they're also generally the most affordable. Radiocarbon dating still costs a decent amount of money per sample, and you need to get multiple samples per site to make sure that you're not just picking up something that's like cross-contamination or something that, you know, you can get stuff where, say I'm in my house and I've picked up, like, say one of these bits of coal was in a ruined house, you know, miles away or something, and it, like, in the foundations, and I just picked it up and I brought it over to my house. This coal might have a date that's like 2 centuries prior to when I actually built my house. And it's in my house. So if that happens to be the only piece that we radiocarbon date, then we're totally wrong on our radiocarbon dates. So you have to get multiple samples to be able to be relatively sure of your radiocarbon dating range. And then you also need to pay for all those samples. So there's a certain amount of archaeological budget that goes to these absolute dating methods. And that's why the relative dating methods are still so important. Because some of the absolute dating methods don't necessarily work. You can imagine if you're on a site that doesn't have any carbon material, then you can't really do radiocarbon dating, can you, if there's no material to radiocarbon date? Or if you're on a site that doesn't have any tree ring availability, like if you can't identify tree rings on anything, even if you have wood, but maybe you can't see any tree rings or they've been deteriorated or something, then you can't really do dendrochronology. So we do still rely a lot on relative dating techniques. And the other type of kind of dating, which again is kind of relative, kind of absolute, it really depends. But the other thing we can do is, say we have my house here, right? And say that I don't have a whole bunch of coal residue in my furnaces. We can look at the objects that are at a site. So like these curtains, let's say, or like this flower pot. Oh, I didn't think I was reaching it. Whoops, let me fix my flower pot. Say you have a particular type of pottery in a house, right? Say we don't have any way of dating this house aside from the stuff that's inside of it. But we have another site that's like 20 miles away that also has the same kind of flower pot, and we have carbon samples from that site. We would then at this site say it is likely that this site dates to around the same time as the site that we have carbon samples for, because we can see that they have similar material culture. Now, we don't do that based solely off of a single flower pot. We have to do that off of like a decent amount of the finds that we get from a site. But that is another way that we can date a site, even if we don't have a way of dating the site specifically. We can take the objects that we find there and compare them to objects at other sites that do have dates, and then we can at least get a general kind of range. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that archaeologists can't necessarily date, and there's a lot of discussion on by archaeologists of when things date to. Yeah, slightly off topic, but you read recently they may have found a second asteroid that hit about 65 million years ago. Oh, that's really cool. I hadn't heard that. That's really cool. There was also a really cool, okay, well, it's cool, but it's also kind of sad. There was a really interesting news story in the last, like, 24 hours, I think, that was talking about the genetic mutations that allowed people to survive the Black Death or the bubonic plague in the medieval period in Europe. Well, late medieval to early modern-ish period. And basically there's a marker, like a genetic marker, I guess, where a certain number of individuals who survived the Black Death had this marker, but they've also found that marker is connected to higher susceptibility to autoimmune diseases. And that's really interesting because it's a mutation that basically gets people through the Black Death, but then might develop issues later on with autoimmune diseases. And it's a really good reminder to just anybody in general who's curious about it, that evolution, when we talk about human evolution, or just evolution in general, biological evolution, it's important to remember that evolution doesn't really, like, it cares about getting you to a point where you can have children, right? And pass your genes down. After that point, it doesn't really care as much, because evolution's job is to get you to a point where you pass your genes down. So when it comes to, say, this bubonic plague, this marker that allowed people to survive the bubonic plague, and it's not everybody who survived, it's just, a lot of people who survived, that marker helped them. If it gets them past the bubonic plague to an age where they can pass their genes down, then the autoimmune diseases appear in middle age, say. Evolution doesn't necessarily worry about that. And it's interesting because it reminds me a lot, there are a lot of genes like that. Evolution is crazy and iterative. Yeah, absolutely. Did to a couple 100,000 years after the first. That's really cool. That's really cool, Scotty. Yeah, so it reminds me a lot of sickle cell. So sickle cell disease is basically, yeah, there you go, Jossie. It literally appeared as I said sickle cell. Reminds you of how sickle cell anemia protects against malaria, but is bad in basically all other cases. No, you're not remembering it incorrectly. So sickle cell disease basically is where your red blood cells, which are normally like nice little happy oval things, they end up in like a sickle shape, or a half moon shape. Same brain, yes. And so that protects against malaria, which is a very deadly disease. However, it also creates complications, and particularly when things like sickle cell anemia take hold, it can be really difficult for people who have sickle cell disease to survive, or to survive in, like, it causes a lot of pain and a lot of complications. But it generally does that once it's gotten, like, it's a weird evolution thing where it doesn't, so long as it gets you to the point where you can pass your genes on, it doesn't care so much. And so that's why sickle cell disease, I mean, there are a lot of reasons sickle cell disease exists, but it's one of the reasons why it's relatively prevalent, particularly among populations that are from malaria zones, or zones that have been, known for malaria, or that have to deal with malaria significantly. So evolution is very strange. And the other thing about evolution that, I mean, this is me just kind of slightly on a tangent now, but the other thing to keep in mind is that there are a lot of things that humans have mitigated, not through biological evolution, but through cultural evolution or cultural practices. So for example, I live in Scotland. As I've told you, it's very rainy here today. It's very rainy, it's very cold, and very wet. I don't have, like, all of the animals that exist in Scotland have fur that will help them, or coats that will help them in the Scottish weather. Humans don't. If I were out in the woods and didn't have, say, like, a coat, or boots or something like that, if I couldn't come back and sit by a fire and dry myself off, then it would be significantly harder to exist in this space. So humans are interesting. I mean, and this doesn't mean that other organisms don't do this, but humans are like kind of the main group that does this, is mitigating problems through cultural changes rather than biological changes. So yeah, it's evolution is interesting, people are interesting, archaeology is interesting. It's cool. Okay. It is 3:30. I do kind of want to see if we can mess around a little bit in 1.20. What do you guys think? Do you want to look at some 1.20 stuff? Maybe, kind of, sort of. Yes. Okay, Moon says yes. Okay, I'm gonna disconnect from this, and then let's see. I need to X out of this actually, and then I need to restart Minecraft because we need to start in a TM Travolta. Welcome on in. Thank you for hanging out and for potentially lurking and such. But yeah, we'll get into looking at 1.20. Here, let me see. Let me change 1.20. I'm just gonna change the title of the stream super quick. And then snapshots. Where are the snapshots? This is. I do know how to. There's part of me that's like, I know how to do this, and yet for some reason I don't know how to do this. What am I doing that's wrong? It's not latest release though. Oh, see you later, V's. You like that cultural arms race where parrots are opening people's garbage bins, then people come up with ways to prevent that, but then the parrots come up with ways to get around it. Yes, absolutely. I love it so much. No, I don't want beta. What am I doing? Aren't snapshots usually... Oh, there it is. Latest snapshot. It's at the bottom. I was like, aren't they usually in this list? It's at the bottom. It's fine. Okay, so let's play and see about this bamboo wood and these camels and such. I will probably play... I'll create a creative world. I'll make a creative world just because I don't want us to spend like 2 hours trying to find a desert village just to see the camels. But yeah. Let's see. Let me also get this to a thing that you guys can actually see. Hang on. Let me also make it the right size. I can't just hit full screen for some reason. OBS doesn't like it. Okay, single player. And I'll create a new world. I'll just do 1.20. Let's make it creative. I'll just leave it there. And then data packs. Update 120, and I guess, yeah, we'll do the bundle thing as well. So, just as an FYI, in order for the snapshot to work on Java, you do need to go into data packs and enable update 1.20, 120, and bundle, and that'll get you the features. If you make your world and these data packs are not part of it, then you won't end up seeing the new 1.20 content. So just as an FYI. And then we're gonna say done, we're gonna say proceed, and it's a new world, so we'll just create it. Poor Ulraf looking for a desert last night. Exactly, yeah. He found one eventually, but yeah, it took a while. Snapshot, then it has to be enabled like a data pack. Yeah. In North America, the garbage can war is humans versus bears and humans versus raccoons. Yes. It's hilarious when the humans then can't figure it out. Oh, sorry, there's another thing. Yes, sorry, oops. Ad break, that's okay. And foxes, yeah. We have foxes. In the UK, it's a lot of foxes. A lot of foxes. And also pigeons to some degree, and squirrels and such. We have a family of foxes that has been coming to our back garden, or at least, well, the area behind our buildings. Because one of our neighbors has been feeding the foxes. And so now every night they just come and hang out back, and they wait patiently for a sausage roll to be chucked from a window. so they're very cute. It's probably don't necessarily feed wildlife, but but these are also urban foxes, so so there's a degree to which they're gonna be eating. They're in and around people anyway, but yeah. My husband really likes the foxes because he's a big fan of foxes. So now they're foxes at our place like almost every day, and it makes him happy. Okay, so one huge thing, and I love this, it makes me so happy, is that the creative menu, the layout has changed, and I think King B-Dogs was working on this a lot. To anybody who was working on this, I am very happy about it. It makes so much more sense that all of the oak stuff is together, all of the spruce, all of the birch, all of the wood types are together. I did see somebody yesterday saying, "Oh, if you could have just make this like two more blocks wider and then everything would line up and it would look really pretty." I also agree with that, but I would imagine that's difficult to do. So, and they acknowledge that in their tweet as well. But I love that these are organized by material instead of by block type, or really by block number, I think was the way that it was sorted. Yeah, he's been posting about this menu on Twitter a lot. It's so nice. Ooh, and here's the bamboo. Okay, let's get bamboo out because we can. And I want to. Yes, I'm just getting all of the bamboo. I'm also excited about that door. So we have building blocks, and then we have nature blocks, functional blocks, redstone blocks, tools and utilities, which is similar to a tag that we already had, combat, which is good, consumables, crafting, and then spawn eggs, so you don't have to be sifting through spawn eggs in a different tab, which is helpful. And this is, what is this, crafting? Yeah. Okay. So that's very nice. Non-block crafting stuff. The consumables, I think, is basically the food plus the potions, which is good. Redstone, I think, is probably going to be the same as it was before. But what's nice is that, okay, so this is another change. Different blocks can appear under more than one of these tabs. So we already got the door, the bamboo door, out of, like, you'll see there are doors and trap doors and such in the building blocks, but they also exist in redstone. So you don't have to remember, oh, which blocks does redstone work with of the block that I want to build with right now. You can just do it in building blocks. Or if you're doing redstone, you don't have to be like, wait a minute, do I want a trapdoor, or what do I want, or pressure plates or whatever. They're all in the redstone tab, which I think is great. Functional blocks are a lot of the job blocks, but also the lanterns. Also, I love that the torches and the lanterns are like so easily, they're like right up front and in your face, because those are probably the most common thing I look for in this tab, along with chests. Yeah, this is great. I also love, look at these signs. I love this. I love it so much. So we'll get to the hanging signs. I'm so excited for the hanging signs. I'm so happy about them. And yeah, and then the nature blocks are, I think, generally what had been called decorative blocks, but it also adds some of these building blocks back in, and such, which will be nice. And I think, yeah, a lot of these are kind of building blocks, I'm sure. Well, are they? Do they count as building blocks? Do ores and dirt count as building blocks? I don't know that they do. It doesn't look like they do. Okay, so for dirt and ores and such, they're in the nature blocks. And it looks like the frog lights. I don't know if the frog lights are in this either. So it is getting used to what tab things are in, but there is always still the search item, the search menu. And this is what I'm really excited about. Stone bricks, stone, 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 cobblestone, cobblestone. Ready? The infested stuff is not at the top. It is not the first thing that appears. And so you don't end up making a creative build out of infested stone and then get confused why it explodes when you bring it into a survival world. So that's really, really nice. Can I grab stacks of bamboo so you can see how to craft them too, please? Yes. Nature blocks, right? Probably. Bamboo. Whee! Alright, cool. This is so nice, but it's gonna take some getting used to. Yeah, I agree. You've seen people joking about the fletching table being in the functional blocks tab. It's functional for the villager, but yes, there's part of me that is like, oh, it probably should have a function, but then there's another part of me that's like, at this point, what function would it have necessarily? So, I care a little bit less about the fletching table. Okay, so first off, we have some really nice, let's just put this. Let's just make like a wall. Oops. Let's not get in the way of the wall. Okay, so we have a nice wall of bamboo. And let's do this. I'm curious about how this matches other wood types because it feels a little bit like yellowier, if that makes sense. A little bit more yellowy green. And it is. So I don't know what, like, a good block to pair with it could be. I think birch does go nicely with it. I'm not as keen personally on the oak to bamboo, but that could just be because it's new and I'm not sure about it yet. I don't know. You're just guessing that it'll probably get functionality whenever the combat update comes out. That's true. That makes sense. Yeah. So I like the bamboo. I don't know what to pair it with yet, because I don't want to have like a completely bamboo house, necessarily, or a completely bamboo building. But I like the bamboo as a block. And I wonder, here, let's just do some. That could be nice. Spruce and bamboo. Like spruce as a floor in a bamboo wall. Or vice versa. That looks quite nice, actually. End stone. Ooh, that's a good idea. Here, that's probably not in nature blocks, is it? No, it is. Haha, it's nature in the end. Here, let's get rid of these. We'll do those in a second. Yeah. I think if you wanted like if you wanted it to be kind of like a cobblestone, I think that texture could work really well. Where is stone? Cobblestone. Let's do this. Because it's kind of a similar texture to the cobblestone, isn't it? More or less. It's basically like cobblestone, but inverted almost, and yellow. So I feel like if you wanted to have like a cobblestone floor or something, I don't know that it works, like for my eyes, it doesn't necessarily work in terms of being like a stone foundation or something, but the beach hut in the live had a mangrove roof. Oh yeah, that's true. Hang on, where's mangrove? Well, here, let's give mangrove a fair shot of an actual wood type. Also, I appreciate that this is twice now where I have just built a building in creative mode in Minecraft and said, oh, it'd be really nice. Here, actually, wait. Game rule, do daylight cycle, false. Last year, I had just built Fushimi Inari Taisha, which is a Shinto shrine, a Shinto temple in Japan, in Minecraft, and made my video about it. And I built it out of acacia wood because I didn't have anything that was vermilion red that would work. And like a month later, Minecraft Live announced that they were adding mangrove wood, which is a vermilion red wood. It's literally described as vermilion red. And I was like, oh, if this had been like a month earlier. And then this past summer, Pixelriffs and I were building Petra, and we're like, oh, if only we could include camels for scale like we had in our 3D model. And then Minecraft Live is like, hey, we're adding camels to the game. And I was like, oh man. It was like 2 months later and we could have added camels. But yeah. Okay, mangrove and bamboo have a nice contrast. Yeah, they do. Here, let me also do time set noon. Let's go with that. I can't turn shaders on or anything because it's a snapshot, so I can't do that. But at the very least, we can get a little bit different lighting on it. Can we? Maybe I'll do time set day. Time set day. That didn't change the shadows. Okay, well, it's fine. It works. What else are you guys saying? Mangrove roofs. Think the bamboo fence is interesting for poles. Ooh, that's true. Here, we'll have a look at that in a second. Probably try it with jungle wood. Ah, because of the locality. No, that makes sense. Here, let's look at jungle wood. I don't need to. Here, let me get rid of the cobblestone. Yeah, I think jungle wood could work really well with that too. Especially like if you have if you wanted to do the other thing is that this allows for like bamboo roof, like a thatch style roof in a way that we haven't had before. So, here, I'll just do a quick house. Well, I'll do like the tiniest house. It's such a tiny house. But it's fine. In Scotland, we have a lot of thatch roofs, especially in like archaeology and history, antiquity kind of thing. But the difficulty is making a thatch roof in Minecraft. You can't really do it. I mean, you can to some degree, and I kind of did in my my video where I talk about carved in stone, the RPG that I do, or that I'm working on. Well, it's an RPG setting guide that I'm working on. It's not an RPG by itself. But I used hay there, and it kind of works. But actually, I feel like the bamboo could work a lot nicer. To a degree. Of course, I say this. Looking at it from the side feels like it works better than a lot of the alternatives. Oh wait, hang on. That's not the right stair. I do like that we're getting multiple bamboo blocks. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like this could work for a thatch roof. It does look pretty clearly like bamboo, but it's probably the closest that we have access to at the moment. And I know I just did that with acacia wood, but here, let's try it with jungle and see what happens. Yeah, I feel like that could work. I like the idea of this being a roof. Oops, I forgot. I'm in creative, but that's fine. I like the idea of it being a roof or like a wall situation with one of the woods as a floor or something like that. Weird suggestion, but the saturation and texture probably goes with melon blocks. Ooh, that is a weird suggestion, but I like it. Yeah. So if we do, let's do like a slightly bigger house. Well, a slightly bigger wall. And then if we do, I don't know, like melon roof. Actually, here, do this, and then we do like another one. And then we do like a dark oak stair. I could go here. Nope. Not that way. This, and then this, and then this. Okay, it would have to be a slightly taller house, probably. But that looks nice. I like that. Lousy God. I think that's a good suggestion. And I think, like, bringing it in inside the house, it doesn't look strange next to it. So even though it's melons, if we're suspending our belief about these actually being melons and just looking at them as like a painting kind of tool, which I enjoy doing, I feel like that works. I feel like that works a lot. I don't know. Yeah, I wish you could get like the side texture of the melons like as a floor. That would be kind of fun. Think of all the 70s builds you could do with a floor like that. It'd be psychedelic. All right, okay, let's look at some of the other things. So we also have this bamboo mosaic block that also has a stair form and a slab form. I really like this because it's very nice in terms of like breaking up the build in terms of a texture without necessarily having it be a different color block. So I think that's really cool for starters. But what's also really cool is that we can effectively weave in Minecraft now. So something you may not know, probably don't know, is that in I have done a lot of like knitting and crocheting and weaving. I actually worked in a yarn store for 4 years when I was in my undergrad university because I had 4 jobs and because I needed to pay for as much of my schooling as I could. And so I worked in a yarn shop and I did a lot of weaving as well. And there's some really cool stuff that you can do with this. So this is like the standard kind of over under thing. But alternatively, additionally, whatever, you can do like, okay, I haven't experimented with this at all, but you can do like an over 1 under 3. Okay, so you can't really do huge amounts with it. I don't know how much of a pattern you could do necessarily. Like I don't think we could make pictures. Like there are ways when you can do like over 1 under 3 or over 1 under 1 over 1 under 1 where you can start to make like little designs like a circle or a heart or a diamond or something in the middle. I don't think we're going to be able to do that here necessarily, but it's simply because we kind of need this block. Like you would need there would be a difference. I don't know how to explain it, but like you would need this pattern on this corner and only that corner to do something like that. But you can do, oh, hang on. If we do this, you can do like a little zigzaggy pattern. Oh no, that's going to continue. Okay, so you can't bring it back on itself. You can only go up in that direction, which is unfortunate. But what does it look like if we do this? And then we do, nope, hang on. And then we do this. You can kind of, yeah, all right. You can kind of get it. Can we do this? It's not quite there. Can I do this? There we go. Okay, so you can see how like we've got almost like an arrow coming through. It's not the prettiest of things. It's not the most amazing weaving pattern, but there is the possibility of playing around with different weaving patterns almost. And I really like that, especially because having a block like this that's like this mosaic means that there's the possibility in the future, maybe, of having this kind of patterning with other blocks, which would be really cool. So like, can you imagine the wool blocks having an option that's like this and their usual wool block pattern, or even something that's like, it would be cool if we could do like tapestry weaving kind of stuff in Minecraft. It would be cool. And I like that these bamboo blocks suggest that, basically, as a possibility. Okay, what else do we need to check out? We need to check out the door, and then I know I have them in the thing, but let's look at these. Okay, so bamboo. Excuse me. Thank you. Okay. Bamboo fence as a pole, that is nice. Compared to, I mean, I do like a good fence pole. And yes, I am using birch and it's fine. Okay, I forgot they would connect to each other. Let me go here. Yeah. I like that it's more it's almost more vertical. Like, this has a lot of little lines going through, and then lines kind of, it's mimicking the planks kind of effect, but I don't know that that would necessarily be how a pole like this would be textured if we created it in real life, whereas like a bamboo pole, this looks like a bamboo pole, if that makes sense. Whereas this, it looks more or less like a wood pole, but actually probably wouldn't be like different segments that are only a few inches, a few inches thick, kind of like stacked on top of each other, which is what it kind of looks like now. You wonder how they chose which way the mosaic went. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure that was a discussion. You saw a really cool picture of growing bamboo next to some 5'6" tall bamboo fences, and it looked like dead bamboo next to living bamboo. Ah, that's true. Okay, hang on. Let's see. See if we can recreate this. Oh, I had a stack of these. Hang on. So. Oops. Are we? Am I just? I thought you could click anywhere on the starter and it would work. That's cool. I do like that. That's really cool. The only thing is that you would have to kind of... Here, let's do this. Oh, no, I'm in the wrong... Hang on. Give me this. The only thing is that you would have to separate the bamboo, the fences by enough that it would still feel like it was, like you have to separate them by a block. So that would be my fear. But I guess if you put like regular bamboo in the middle of it, that could be quite nice. However, I will say, something you might not know is that actually the thicker bamboo is the newer bamboo. The thinner bamboo is the older a plant it is, which is weird and not intuitive. But thicker bamboo is actually younger bamboo than thinner bamboo, believe it or not. But it looks really cool. It does look very cool. I wonder if there's like something you could stick at the top to make it look like this, but probably not. Because I feel like you would need a flower pot for anything that could maybe do this kind of texture. Shrinks as moisture leaves. Ah, okay. That makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. Yeah, I knew that was the case, and then I was sitting here being like, why is that? And realizing I don't know. But so that's good. Thanks for letting us know, Dragon. Okay, so that's bamboo. There's also the trapdoor. I love this trapdoor. I want this trapdoor everywhere. It just is such a nice texture. and I love it. And I kind of wish that we had this kind of trapdoor texture in other colors too, because if we did, I would never use anything else. I would only use this trapdoor. Well, I would also use spruce trapdoors because they're good for like solid surfaces, but this is so pretty. And like getting, here, like if we get like a copper, let's get like an oxidized copper. Yeah, I'll put the gay away. Let's do an oxidized copper. Okay, and then we do the trapdoor. Look at how pretty that is. It's so pretty. I love it so much. It looks so nice. And I feel like it could do that with like regular copper too, or like even let's try like a light block, like a sea lantern. Okay, because it's still gonna block. Oh, I did the wrong side first. It just looks nice. Now, granted, with the sea lantern and probably also the frog lights, here, let me just do frog lights. There we go. It's probably gonna, no, we need a different color. Let's do purple. It's gonna probably block the color of that light block. So it might be better to do with like glowstone, which I'll do in just a second. Yeah, I think it's kind of blocking all of the purple. So you get hints of the purple, but it's really, or like hints of the blue. They are differently toned, but barely. Whereas this, you kind of get the color of the block beneath it. But if we do glowstone, say, how pretty is this gonna look? Okay, that's a little bit busier than I thought it might be. But let's do some glowstone... No, hang on. Redstone lamps. Stone... Nope. I can type. I'm a functional human, I swear. If we do, like, this. And then, let's just grab this. And then we do this. This might be too busy as well, now that I'm thinking about it. Oh no, that works. That's quite nice. I like that one. What about the nether fungal lights? That is very true. Hang on. Let's see what this does. Do shroom light. I'll get rid of this pole. That also looks nice. I feel like that could work really well, especially in like a more peach-colored... maybe not a peach-colored build, but like if you're using kind of peachy tones as an accent, maybe? That could look really nice, I think. I think these two, this looks really nice and that looks really nice. I think that could be really nice. I know I've said that looks really nice a lot of times, but oh my goodness, thank you so much, Dragon. Everybody stretch, check your posture, because I definitely haven't been. And like, make sure that you're, I don't know, taking care of yourself. Looks almost floral. Yeah, I like those. I like that the texture in the trap door kind of... With the glowstone, it just ends, because it's in the same areas of the texture for the glowstone that's already busy. Like, the glowstone has areas that are busy areas, and then the trapdoor itself has some quite busy areas. The combination of the two doesn't really work, but... Ooh, actually... Can we appreciate that for a hot second? Because that is nice. That is really pretty. Right there. What about... Oh... I'm liking this. I like this. I like this. And I like that because... Yeah, so because this is like a busy area, somehow when it overlaps with the redstone lamps, it almost makes the redstone lamps less busy. Even though it's not. And the same with the shroom lights. I feel like your eye kind of loses track of the busyness a little bit better with the shroom lights. The redstone is... I like the redstone a lot. Crying obsidian. Okay. All right. Let's see. There's so many things we could we could try these trapdoors with. This... I feel like this is also gonna look nice. This is like... Talk about end-themed builds right there. That looks so good. Ad break. Okay. The handle on the door is distracting. Yeah, I wonder if... Hello? If we do it this way... It does put the handle on the opposite side, like on the top and the bottom. But it doesn't make it... Like, the way I've got it here, it's 2 pixels wide, so it's more likely to distract. Ooh, I feel like that's almost worse, though. Because here they at least line up, whereas here they don't. I think, personally, I would either go for this or for the one where they line up in the middle. But yeah, I agree. Oh, the door! The handle in the door is distracting. Hang on, wait a minute. Yeah, it's very light. I see what you mean. It's a very light-colored door handle. Do we have... How do other doors... I mean, Spruce has that kind of, the silvery door handle. But yeah. I think for a lot of these other ones, it's kind of like a... It's not... I feel like Spruce is probably the only one that has a door that is also a circle. and it doesn't feel enormous for the spruce door, but for some reason for the bamboo door, it feels larger. And I don't know why. I'm not sure why that is. I wonder if, like, if it were a different material, like, because the spruce one is clearly the iron, instead of the wood itself. I wonder if that were the case with the bamboo door, if the handle were a different material, would we be feeling the same way about the handle? Very curious. It's very, very curious. Huh. The things you never think to look at. It overlaps part of the patterns on the bamboo door. Yeah. Yeah, so like this kind of comes up and is like in this corner of the handle. Which technically this one, there's the darker panel that comes up through there. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It's interesting. And I also wonder, there's a degree to which, like, how much do I notice it now because it's new, and how much will I forget about it in the future because I'm used to it? I don't know. But I agree with you, Lazagod. Bamboo knocker seems insubstantial. Yeah. Yeah. I think if it were like a different metal, a different material, doesn't necessarily have to be metal, but because it's the same material as the bamboo, it's a little bit, it feels a little bit too large. Also, it could be a thing in real life. That's true. That's very true. I don't know anything about whether bamboo knockers on doors exist. Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. Curious. Very curious. Okay. Should we look at some hanging signs while we're in creative and such? I know that Dragon was asking about crafting stuff, so let's just do that. Nope. There you go. So it's 4 bamboo to a bamboo plank. Here. Ah, the bamboo mosaic is 2 slabs. Okay. So you might end up with more bamboo mosaic than you end up using. But in a way, I'd rather that be the case than ending up with more of the straight bamboo, I think, because the mosaic is something that you can always work in as like an accent block somewhere else in a small quantity, whereas just a random patch or so of bamboo planks might be a little bit harder. But that's interesting. Jungle wood would look nice since you find bamboo in jungles. Yeah! Oh, V's, welcome back! Right? V's you had to leave, right? Am I misremembering? Anyway, you finished your thing. Welcome back. Cool. Yeah, we did, what did we do? We did it with jungle over here. So there's the, oh, nope, I forgot I'm in creative. Nope, I know how to work in Minecraft. I know how to do stuff. So yeah, there's the bamboo next to the jungle. It looks really nice. It looks nice next to a lot of the wood types. We haven't done all of the wood types, but let's see like dark oak. Dark oak might be a little bit more. It is quite dark. But if you want a high contrast build, that does look nice. What else? Let's have a look at the nether woods next to it. These I'm less certain of being nice. But I feel like you could make those work with something. It would be interesting, but I could see like if you do want like an end city or an end themed build, and you went with like the crimson and the bamboo and then the crying obsidian and trapdoor thing over here. Could work. I feel like that could work. There's a cat. Hello. I don't have any fish, so I'll just let you be. But yeah, that's cool. Okay. Where did I put the crafting table? There it is. All right. So the other stuff. What is it? So let's just do like this. So that's how you can get the slabs, is the same usual thing. And then to get... Now that's interesting. Do you then have to... You then have to craft them into mosaic bamboo. And then you have to craft that into slabs. So it's like, it's several steps to get to bamboo mosaic slabs or bamboo mosaic stairs, I think. Especially because stairs-wise, like, if you do this, and then it has to be... You need 2, right? To get bamboo slabs so that you have 12, so that those turn into 6, so that that turns into 4 stairs. So this is where I really want a woodcutter or a table saw. Get us a table saw, please. Minecraft devs, a table saw. So that we don't have to craft and craft and craft and craft. That's not complicated at all. Yeah. It's that's a lot. So maybe it is the first wood type to do that. Maybe it's a sign that there will be a tool like that in the future. Maybe, possibly, maybe. That would be cool. That would be really cool. I think every builder ever has wanted the equivalent of the stone cutter for wood types, and it would make life so much easier. But especially with, like, what was that, 3 or 4 different steps? Because you have to make the planks. So it's 1 to make the planks, and then it's 1 to... No, hang on. And then it's 1 to make the stairs, or the slabs, and then it's... So that's step number 3, and then this is step number 4. So it's 4 steps just to get 4 stairs. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, I would love for that to be a potential indication that we're getting a table saw. That would be really cool. Or the equivalent of a table saw. That'd be really cool. I'm assuming in terms of the bamboo fence... Oh, I kind of need sticks. Hang on. Aw. Can I just do this? There we go. I'm assuming... Yeah, okay, so that's the fence, and then the fence gates are this, and then this. Oh wait, no, I literally just did that. Hang on. I'm not tired, I swear. It's fine. There we go. There's the fence gate. So that's the same as everything. You just have to make the planks first, which isn't the end of the world. Making the planks is relatively easy. The door, I'm assuming, is also the usual... Yeah, the usual 6, and then the trap door is the 6 that way for 2. It's just so sad. I want better trapdoor conversions. But yeah, and I think is that all the bamboo? That's all the bamboo stuff. Well, aside from pressure plates and buttons and such. This will be interesting. The hanging sign. I also just want to see the raft. The raft is so cool! Also, I feel like this is moving faster than a boat would move. Am I wrong in thinking that? Am I just used to... Am I just... This feels faster than I would go in a boat. Yeah, the raft! I love this. This looks so cool. And I really, really like that they've done this. This is probably one of my favorite things. Of the bamboo blocks, the raft is definitely up there. The raft and the trapdoor, they're just great. They're so great. And there's the raft with the raft with a chest. So, do you wanna? Oh my gosh! Hang on. Oh my gosh! Don't mind me. I'm just boating on a raft with a villager. Hey, Spencer! How's it going? We've been exploring some 1.20 stuff. We did some stuff in Archaeo SMP. This makes me happy. This raft makes me happy. The fact that the villager is standing on the raft. I know, right? I enjoy that the villager doesn't sit. Okay, I thought the water was closer than it was, but I'm this far. I'm determined. Hey, this is kind of great. This is where you learn that I am really bad at figuring out how to do controls in third person. You can see me concentrating. He's looking to the side. Are you never gonna? You should look forward, buddy. Like, I'm assuming that I've done a bad and assumed their gender, and I shouldn't do that. But why do they never look forward if they're in a boat? Is this a thing that I never noticed with villagers? Do they never look forward? They always look to the side? Because their head hasn't changed. The fact that the villager is standing on a raft. Yeah, very Venice. The standing, not the bamboo. Yes. I appreciate this. Feels a little bit like a slight existential crisis this this villager is having. Just like looking to the side and down into the water and herming on occasion. All right. I'll bring you mostly back. Hang on. Wait, let me Why is it that I find it slightly easier? No, never mind. I was thinking I found it easier to navigate that way, but no, clearly I didn't. There you go. You're free. You're welcome. I mean, you can stay in the water too if you really want to. There you go. Okay. You're surprised I'm still streaming? Yes. Well, it is, we were doing some stuff, and it's also something that I keep in mind because I know that you get home from school like around this time. And I was like, well, if I go slightly later, then Spence can at least hang out for a little while. And so there's a part of me that's like, I'll just go until I'm tired or until it gets to be like a ridiculously late hour, and that'll be that. But 1.20 updates are fun, so so we've been exploring those. You're wondering why they were having bamboo rafts in Venice. Although bamboo wood as Venetian blinds, maybe. Yes, that could work. Probably so long as it wasn't like well, I was gonna say so long as it's not like a very different wood type, but it could work. Like even with... That's nice. I like that. Especially because it's a change in the texture without having to move a block forward or back. That's really nice. That's really cool. So, okay, hang on. Wait a minute. If we do this, and then we do this, then we do this, and this, and we do... Okay, this is a lengthy window, but it's fine. Doot. This. Here. Okay. I have a plan. I have a vision. It's a thing. It's a thing. How pretty is that? That's nice. I like that a lot. That's really nice. I like that a lot. And I like doing, I mean, this is like a bay window kind of design, but you don't even need to do the bay window design. You can just have a window and it's got blinds. Granted, it means that your curtain is also on the outside, but what you could do is then just do like your trapdoor situation, right? Just do a trapdoor shutter situation. Look at that! How cool is that? You've got blinds on the inside, you've got shutters on the outside. That's cool. I like that a lot. That's really, really nice. And yeah, I put this in the blue wood because I was like, that's probably the least likely to merge with this color, but no, I think it works. It totally works. Totally works. You're literally doing an English project that's due in tomorrow and you have art homework due tomorrow. You're very bad with time management. Someone get me a homework schedule or something. When I was in school, they gave us planners. Like they would get planners that were branded to the school. and like had the school specific stuff in it. So it was like it would have the logo on the front, and it was when like holographic planners were new. So they would give you like the cover would be holographic weirdly, and then they would give it to us at the start of school and make us use them. I mean it worked sort of mostly sometimes. It probably worked for me more often than it didn't work for me, but I also know a lot of people it very much didn't work for. You don't have planners. Yeah, they were so into making them holographic, and I don't know why, because like the holograph always didn't really work. And it was very strange. And everyone would be a DJ scratching the music. Exactly. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Between the holographic planner covers and the sticky neon colored book covers that you could run your fingers along, and it was like, yeah, between those two things, you could definitely DJ. Oh man. I'm sad they don't give you planners. That's such a shame, Spence. But I hope your English project is relatively straightforward, or your art project, and I hope that at least one of them is something that's interesting to you, because it's always harder to do projects when you're not particularly interested, and very much guilty as charged. How do you make a 3D model of a restaurant and a mood board about noses all in one night? Wow, that is a lot. A mood board about noses. That's interesting. I've never had to do that in my life. 3D modeling, I have had to do. I did that for my PhD. So it's a thing that can happen. Doing it in a night is a lot. That's a lot. A digital 3D model or like a physical 3D model? And then write an About Us page for said restaurant. Physical 3D model. See, that's the downside. Do you have Legos? Can you do Lego? Lego restaurant? That involves noses? Maybe don't do that. You have no Lego. Oh, no. That comment sounds like you started the sentence and then kept hitting the middle suggested word. Yeah, it's the... Oh, man. Mood board about noses. It's so strange. So strange. Well, I wish I could help, but I don't know that I can help. That's a surprising project. But I can have us have a look at camels. You have cardboard with cool patterns and PVA glue. I mean, that's more than I have, so that's pretty good. How to do all of that in one night? No idea. I am very grateful that I don't have homework anymore. I was gonna say I never really enjoy, and I never really did enjoy homework, but then I also went and got a PhD, and so like I can't really say that I that's self-inflicted pain to an extent. So yeah, but man. Oh, they still do give planners to students. You see more college ones than anything else. It's related to what you do for work. Oh, that's really interesting, because I never got a planner in college. I might have been able to buy one from like the university bookstore, but I never did. Because the university bookstores are often expensive, and I didn't want to. Although our university bookstore had a coffee shop inside of it that made like the best hot cocoa, because we were in northern New York where it snowed all the time. They made something called a monster hot cocoa that was basically hot cocoa with marshmallows, Oreos, M&Ms, like little chocolate kisses, whipped cream, and a little monster finger puppet on top. And it was called Monster Cocoa, and it was like $3 or something, $3 or $4. So it was a lot, but it was like, it was warm. It had a lot of calories. It helped in the frigid temperatures. Oh my gosh, the ear wiggle. I love the ear wiggle so much. Back, yeah, there you go. Keep doing the ear wiggle. Yeah. The ear wiggle is probably my favorite thing. I love the camels, though. I think they're amazing. Oh my gosh, they're very large. And a baby camel! The little baby camel with the little baby camel ear wiggle. They're so cute. And these, at the moment, can only be found in desert villages, and that's predominantly because camels today are mostly domesticated. Ah! It's so cute! With the little... Oh my gosh. They're very cute. I really want... You know how you can get the llamas to follow you in like a llama caravan? I really want the camels to be able to do that too. I don't know if they do. I guess we could try. Hang on. Wait. Lead. And then I should catch up on chat, because I know you guys are saying things in chat, and I'm currently not looking at it because I'm playing with camels. Here, come here. Do other camels follow? No. That's sad. I want that to be able to happen. I want a camel caravan. Also, I really want to be able to, like, similar to llamas, I want to be able to put a cloth over the camel and have different cloth camel decorations. I know I didn't vote for the tough golem, but I want that feature on more things. Maybe it's a US thing that middle and high schools give out planners? Yeah, maybe. You could buy them in college. Only the last 2 years of high school you remember them. Don't know if they give or sell. Don't really tell you that information. Yeah. You survived living in Albany by stopping at all the campus coffee shops and kiosks? Yeah. We were half an hour south, well, no, half an hour south of the border and about like an hour and a half south of Ottawa. So, cold places in New York. And I remember going from like the student union building, and then going into what was the anthropology building, like anthropology, sociology, African studies and history, that kind of stuff, which was only about like maybe 100 meters, maybe, probably not even that. and we would just like, from there, we would rush inside of that building and then just like hold our gloves and our hats in front of the heaters for like 5 minutes and then be like, okay, all right, I think we can make it to the dorm. And then we would stop in the bookstore, and then we would stop in the dorm. But like, you had to stop, or else you would freeze. It was so cold. Welcome on in, Legumilas! Thank you so much about the videos. I'm glad you're enjoying them. I think I saw you hanging out, was it yesterday, in Ulraf's chat as well, in Ulraf's stream? I saw you in somebody's stream yesterday. I think it was yesterday. But yeah, welcome on in, and thank you for the follow earlier. We're checking out the 120 stuff. I am very excited about the camel ear wiggle, and also just how great it is that they sit down. I love this. This is wonderful. It makes me happy. And also, it doesn't... You're an Ulraf stream. Yeah, I thought I saw you. In terms of the camels, something that Ulraf mentioned is that if you have a camel, if they're not tamed, I think I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but I'll say it again. If they're not tamed and you're riding on them, and they're just kind of doing their thing, they might sit down with you on top of them. But if you've tamed them, then they won't sit down. So like if you're riding a camel and you've got zombies all around, or like you're in the desert and it's, so like you can see they sit down with me on top of them. Hang on. I love it. I love it so much. So they'll do this if you don't have a saddle on, you haven't tamed them. But if you are in control of the camel, then the camel will not sit down. So if you're riding across the desert and there are a bunch of husks and things, I love it. I love it so much. You won't end up in the middle of a bunch of husks, basically. RPI had several tunnels and connectors between buildings. We didn't have any tunnels where I was. There were no tunnels or connectors. It was just cold and snow. and as I said at the beginning of the stream, in my first year at university, this is years ago now, my mom actually called me to be like, hey, just checking in about, you know, how you're doing in the blizzard. And I was like, what do you mean blizzard? And she's like, well, you guys had a blizzard today. And I was like, oh, I guess it snowed more than usual, but like only by a little bit. So So it was snowy enough where I went to university that when we had blizzards, it wasn't necessarily noticeable. There was just so much snow. The ear wiggle is the best thing they've added since cats purring. Yes, I agree. The ear wiggle is so great. The ear wiggle and the sitting down. I love them so much. Waiting for the bus in Canada in winter is fun. Yeah. I try to tell that to people here because, like, people in Scotland will talk about it being cold in Scotland. Now, granted, in Scotland, especially in, like, northern parts of Scotland or, like, higher altitudes, there's definitely, like, it gets cold. It gets very cold here. But it's also a different cold. It's, like, a very damp cold. So even if it's not as cold as, say, northern New York / into Canada, it's, like, temperature-wise, it feels cold or as cold or even colder because everything is damp. And so it's just that, like, chilled to the bone kind of situation. But I've had to describe to people here that, like, where I went to university, my undergrad degree, if you took a shower in the morning and didn't dry your hair before you walked out of the building, you needed to not touch your hair until it thawed inside of another building because there was a decent chance that you would snap parts of your hair off. and that's, like, definitely a thing that happens. Or, like, the sensation, and Dragon, you'll know what I mean by this because I know that this happens in Ottawa as well. The sensation of, like, walking out the door and having the inside of your nose freeze is unpleasant. And it happens in those areas. So yeah, how to stop having a crisis over the color of floors in a restaurant. Ooh, what are your color options? We could pick for you. Go with, I don't know, green, purple, yellow. Whichever of those colors are one of your options, first go with that one. That's a horrifying level of cold. Worst nightmare. Yeah, it's very, very cold. It's very cold. And it's not like, I mean, oh, I need to get off the camel before I can get a saddle. There are ways of kind of mitigating it, but yeah, there were reasons that hang on, I need to not be in third person. They're relatively slow, so I can direct them. But yeah, so there are ways of mitigating it, but, like, it is very cold. Kind of how the DC area is, doesn't get cold enough to snow, but anytime the Northeast gets snow, that area gets rain while being just above freezing. Yeah, the kind of dangerous, the point where it's most dangerous for hypothermia is actually not when it's freezing. I mean, that is dangerous, but people most often get hypothermia when it's in, like, the single digits in Celsius, or, like, the high 40s to 50s in Fahrenheit. If it's that and it's damp, that is actually when people most likely get hypothermia, not because it's the temperature that will most likely give you hypothermia, but because that is the temperature where people are less likely to be taking precautions against hypothermia. And so the majority of hypothermia cases have nothing to do with the temperature being freezing. It's simply because the temperature is close enough to freezing and or wet enough, and people are not taking enough precautions against it. But yeah, okay, hang on, wait a minute. Spence had options for floors. What was it? Where is it? 3 different types of marble, yellow, bumpy, white, and stars. I'm gonna go with, I don't know, go with yellow. And if you don't like, if me saying that makes you feel like, oh, I don't want to go with yellow, then don't go with yellow. One of the things that I like to do is I like to start taking options away. So, like, if you do 2, this is something that my husband and I do when we're trying to figure out what, like, if we're getting takeout or something, or we want to go to a restaurant for dinner, but we don't really know exactly what we want. We'll start being like, okay, do you want pizza or burgers? And then somebody, whoever's not doing the asking chooses one. So say pizza. It's like, okay, do you want pizza or Chinese food? Chinese food. Okay, do you want Chinese food or Indian? Like, and just kind of going through the options. So you could try doing that with your floor options. And whichever one is still there by the end, that's probably the one you should go with. just as a fun thing. Those ads. Oh, right. Okay, I was explaining a whole thing. People drive even crazier. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's bad when people don't know how to drive in snow. The world shuts down. Yeah. The same is true in Scotland. The world will shut down when it snows in Scotland, at least in the cities. Like in Glasgow, if it snows, we had a snowstorm that barely lasted, like, it was not that much snow. It was like maybe 5 inches of snow. It was not huge amounts. But the city shut down for 4 days. 4 days straight. Couldn't do anything. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. The ads. Yeah, I'm sorry about the ads. It's a Twitch thing. It's how it goes. It's I've tried to minimize them for you all, and thank you very much, Robert, for talking about letting me know about the ads. I keep telling Twitch to alert me when they're going to be ads, and it keeps not doing it. So I don't know if it's just, I don't know. I don't know if I'm just not looking at the right screen at the right time or something, but oh well. But yeah, you're not experienced in snow or ice, but you know what not to do. Yeah, it feels like a lot of people in the DC area don't even know that. Yeah, but what goes well with it? What goes well with which? Oh, everything else is already being used for something. All right, okay, I see. I see. One of your coworkers does a similar thing for restaurants. He does the 5-2-1 method. Ah, first person picks 5, second person picks 2 of those, then the first person picks 1 of the 2. That's an interesting. That's a nice technique. We tend not to do, like, unless we totally unless neither one of us can make a decision, in which case then we start, you know, with a wider pool and then somebody makes a decision. But that's a really cool way of doing it, like Legumolas. I love your username, by the way. Legumolas is so great. I just enjoy it. And yes, I'm just kind of casually sitting here on a camel. Okay. So we've explored the camels. There's not huge amounts. Now there is like a dash. Oh no, wait. I love how I'm like, oh, dash. I should push the not dash button. I'm sorry. What? I'm not going to be able to. Okay. So if we dash and then we jump, there's like a little, they do a little, okay, hang on. I enjoy that animation, and I kind of wish that I could show you, like, I don't have somebody on the, I mean, this is a brand new world, so, but that's gotta be fun to watch from the side. Watch the subtitles. Camel yeets. I enjoy that. How far, because they can also jump quite far. Like, I know somebody was saying, so you can't, okay, so in Bedrock, at the moment, I think camels will do the same thing as other mounts, where they'll kick you off in water, but in Java, they won't. So if I try to get into the water with this, then it's gonna kick me off at a certain point, like horses do, etc. But, they jump further, is what I've been seeing. I might be understanding that wrong, but I'm pretty sure they jump further. I mean, that's pretty good. I didn't even charge the jump that much. That's pretty good. That's a good 5 or 6 blocks with a barely charged jump. Here, come back. So that's pretty good. It's a play on legumes and Legolas. Exactly. Yeah. I like it a lot. I enjoy the idea of Legolas as a bean. Beanstalk. Like a green bean or something. Pretty great. Starting lunch. Yeah. No worries, dragon. Enjoy your lunch. Okay, so we've explored really the camels. I'm here for the ear wiggle, let's be honest. That's the main thing I'm here for. Let's look at some hanging signs, because I think those are the last. Oh, and there are the bookshelves. I'm not going to go too much into the bookshelves, not because I don't like them. I do really like them. But because there's a lot to do with them in terms of redstone, and I don't know. I am not the person to explain that. Beans on lembas toast. Yes, absolutely. So let me get some books. So the cool thing about this, nope, those are not books. I mean, they are, but they're not the ones I want. Is that basically it understands, like it outputs the last book that you interacted with in redstone signal strength. So let's get redstone. I'll do my best to explain what I do understand of this. Does it need a comparator? It does need a comparator, I think. Hang on. Doot. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here. Let's make this. Let's do this a simple way. So, with the books, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do that. You can see that this redstone is lit up, and that's because the last book that we interacted with was the 6th book. Okay? So the slightly mind-bending thing is that if I then take out the 6th book, this is still lit. And that's because the last thing I interacted with was still the 6th book. But then if I interact with the 5th book, I take the 5th book out, and now you can see that this last bit of redstone isn't lit anymore, okay? It doesn't have the particle effect. So that's how that works. And it's something where, obviously, I've seen some people criticize it because you can't have a different interaction for each of the 6 books in the bookshelf. And you might be able to, like, if it goes down, like, I'm sure people who are very clever with redstone could figure that out somehow. But, like, because you can't sit and open a user interface and check which book, like, you can't choose which book you interact with. It's the last one that you put in. Some people are saying that's really limited functionality, but I feel like redstone people are very clever and are going to be able to, like, I would be surprised if Doc M or Mumbo didn't, or like the dozens and dozens of other, well, really like hundreds of other really intelligent redstone people couldn't find a really interesting use for this, because it seems it works differently to other redstone stuff, and I feel like that makes it interesting and that gives it usability. I could be wrong, because I'm saying this as somebody who is not terribly familiar with redstone, but I feel like it could work really well. Now, one of the things that some people were saying was that it would be really cool for enchanted books to have a different color, but they don't currently. It might be something they work in the future, with feedback and such, to have kind of enchanted books have a slightly different texture. But again, I think part of it is because it's just, you know, which books are there. I'm not entirely sure, you know, like if we're wanting to go into like stories and things, like people writing a story in a book and putting it on a bookshelf. I don't know how many of those things people will want to do. I'm not sure how many of those things people do already with books necessarily. And having to like the first one you put in, if you want to fill up the bookshelf, then you have to take out 5 books before you get the book that you wanted. So I can see people not really necessarily using it for that sort of thing. But I think they're really interesting design. I like this as a possible floor design. I like the back as a possible wall design, the back and the sides. And I think it could be interesting redstone-wise. I don't think I am intelligent enough, or, well, I don't think I am well-versed enough in redstone to be able to talk about how it could be used redstone-wise. I was watching Ulraf make a secret door with it last night, but I bet that there's more that can be done with it. So yeah, that's my guess. Hang on, I've been ignoring chat. Hang on. I probably ate beans and greens, or maybe just lembas. Hello, camel. Hi. You think they'll change it just to measure how full it is? Yeah. I like that they've... I don't know if they will change it to that. I do like that they have it as a different functionality. and it is a little bit of a mind-bending functionality, but I do like that it's different to like other stuff. As book storage goes, a chest is probably still the way to go. Yeah, if you're trying to get books that you want to be using regularly, at least, absolutely. The oven heats up faster when you turn it on. Found out just now. Oh, yeah. Oh dear. Does my work involve food at all? You've been listening to a world history course focusing on food, and it's super interesting. I have never, like, written a paper on... Well, that's not true. I've never written a paper on food, but I have done stuff... So, a big part of the RPG stuff that I've been doing, so I'm a researcher for Carved in Stone, which I think that's the command. There it is, which is a system-neutral setting guide for tabletop role-playing games that centers the players in the late 7th century in Scotland, in northeastern Scotland. So basically, you are Picts, and you do Pictish things. And it's a lot of fun, and one of the big things that we've been doing is looking into food and what kinds of food are available. I was mentioning this book at the start. Hang on. This book called Flora Celtica. It's here, let me get it. There you go. Plants and People in Scotland. Let me get it to where you can see it. This is a really nice book. It's out of print, so it might be a little while before you find one that's affordable, but I have been able to find affordable copies kind of easily. Well, relatively easily. This is a book that combines folklore and plants in a lot of really beautiful ways. So there are recipes in here for different things. Something that you guys might not have heard of, or you might have heard of, is seaweed. Obviously you've probably heard of seaweed consumption in Japan, but believe it or not, in Scotland, seaweed is commonly consumed and also commonly used in vegetarian gummy things, or anything that people are trying to have the same properties as gelatin, but maybe don't want it to have gelatin in it so that it's suitable for vegetarians. There's stuff called carrageen or carrageenan, and that turns into like a pudding. Basically, if you wash it really well, it's a seaweed that turns into pudding. And, you can turn it into pudding by combining it with some different ingredients after washing. And it's such a good book. It's got so much stuff in it, and I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite books of all time. And that, if you're interested in food, it is specific to Scotland, but it has a lot of plants that are common across the UK and also across parts of Europe as well, so like northern/western Europe. In terms of other food stuff, that's a really good question. I feel like there are I know that there are lots of people doing food stuff. A friend of mine, actually, a former roommate of mine, we did our PhDs together, and she looked into residue analyses of late Bronze Age pottery in Iraq, and predominantly did a lot with like beer and wine. And so her entire PhD was all about, the different things that are contained inside of certain types of ceramic containers in the past, which is really cool. You've seen carrageenan on lots of food labels. Yeah, that's seaweed. That's seaweed that's been added to make it basically look a bit like gelatin. There's a lot of really cool stuff to do with food. I have not done terribly much with food. I'm trying to think if there's like anything else. But yeah, Carved in Stone, I've done a lot with food so far, and we're going to continue to do more with food. Or at least, yeah, we've done like a bunch of research. Well, I've done the research for like diet and cooking not rules, but like setting stuff, explanations and such. And then we're doing more with farming and foraging and hunting. We still kind of have to put that together. There's a lot of really cool stuff. You have 2 containers of powdered kelp that were a gift from someone in Alaska. To be honest, they don't taste like much. One is a popcorn topping. That's cool. I don't think I've ever had seaweed on popcorn, but I feel like I've heard that that is a common thing in what am I saying? I've heard that that's a common thing in various parts of the world. I'm also seeing that Dragon was asking what the bottom looks like. Same as the top. So you could do the same thing, and have that be your ceiling, which would be a very fancy ceiling, in all honesty. Yeah, okay, I think I've caught up with chat. Yeah, cool. Very cool. All right. We've done the bookcase. Okay, let's do some hanging shelves, and then we'll end stream because we've been going for a long time. And Spence probably needs to be able to concentrate on the various restaurant projects. Let's see. Okay, so we've got hanging signs. Now, this is a question. Bamboo. Hang on. How do you construct a bamboo hanging sign? Oh, this is the other thing too, okay, and this is kind of funny. Let's do this, and let's do this, and let's do chains. Okay. We'll get rid of redstone for now. Okay, so we have hanging signs. They're amazing. They're fantastic. They can go from the side. They can also go from the top down. Oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't have guessed. I thought... Oh. I thought hanging from a block they had the, like, similar to this. I thought this was only if they were connecting to, like, a single point. Have I done that wrong? Did I did I do that wrong? Or did I understand that incorrectly? I thought it was like if you had I don't know, a pole like this. Hang on. And then like they had this thing. You could hang them from the bottom and it would be like hanging from a single point. But that these would be from 2 points. When they're rotated, maybe? Is it because it's on an angle? Okay, so what do you think if I just do it from underneath? Okay. So is that because I wasn't directly underneath? No, it does it there. Was I at the side? Oops, whoops, hang on. Hang on. let's get dry land. Was I just well, hang on. Let's go a little bit higher. Was I like over here or something? No, it works there. Oh, crouching versus not. Ah. It looks, yeah, I think Clara's got it. I think it's crouching versus not crouching. Yeah, it's crouching versus not. That's cool. That's good to know. You can only write on one side of the signs, as far as I'm aware. But I did really like the example that they had of like the things hanging, different colored signs hanging and looking like stuff between buildings. I think that's really cool. And the other thing about signs that Ulraf was pointing out that I think is cool is you can turn them, into basically like a tightrope kind of situation. So you can just walk on them like a little balance beam or a tightrope or something, which I think is really cool. I don't know how much I would necessarily use that, but I like it a lot as a possibility. I just enjoy that I like hanging signs. I like that we have so many new options for signs. I do wish you could write on both sides. I think that's the one thing we can't do just now. And that is write on both sides of the sign. So if we do this and we say hello, It appears on this side, but it doesn't appear on the back. So that's one sadness. And not necessarily, like, I don't really need to write different messages on different sides of signs. I feel like that would be nice, but I feel like that's a lot to code. But if it could show the same message on both sides of the sign, that would be really nice. It should totally show up on both sides of the sign. Yeah. Kind of wish they'd swing if you hit them with a projectile. Oh, that'd be cool. I wonder if that's something they might add in the future. And I know that you've literally just told me that this doesn't work, but, oh. Does it, because I'm in creative? What am I? What? Okay. It's because I could select the block. It's like, what am I doing wrong? Yeah, I feel like the arrow goes right through it. As far as I could tell. There. And yes, I know how to use a bow. It's fine. Oh, apparently you don't need a bow in your inventory to use a bow in creative. This is how much I know about bows. You can tell I use them all the time. Yeah, that's a little sad that you can't hit you can't hit them and cause them to swing. That would be really cool. A shop sign would be two-sided. Yeah, like an open and closed thing. Although there was a cool thing that Filza was showing that he had figured out. Hang on, wait a minute. Let's just do some doors. Let's just do some regular doors. If you do door, door, and then like, I don't know. I don't know why I'm not flying. It's all fine. Everything's fine. Okay, and then you can do shop. Closed. And then you just have a sign in front of the door, which is cool. Only use for bows is looking pretty. Yes, Robert. For those who don't necessarily know, Robert does pacifist runs, so Robert has like barely ever killed a mob in Minecraft, and he's been playing since 1.8. Not 1.18, 1.8. So Robert is a pro at surviving in Minecraft without actually killing anything. I don't think, like you were saying, you've never intentionally killed a mob in Minecraft, or it's happened like maybe once. Yeah, like never intentionally killed a mob in Minecraft, which is mind-boggling to me in such a cool way. I think that's such an excellent way to approach the game, because it just makes you approach it so it makes you approach. I love things that make you approach the game differently. So one of the things that I do that I've mentioned before is if I find a village like this, I don't add more villagers to the village, and I definitely don't add more professions to the village. I go with whatever professions and villagers this village has. So if this village doesn't have any farmers, then there are no farmers in this village, and there won't be. And it makes you search for more villages to get more resources, and it's a lot of fun to do. And I think Ulraf was mentioning on his stream last night that actually he started doing that and really enjoyed doing it as well, so that's really cool. Yeah, okay, good. I thought I had it right, but I also didn't want to accidentally have it wrong. Okay, so those are hanging signs. I feel like it is approaching 5. Am I missing anything? Is there anything anybody wants me to look at that I've forgotten? Because knowing me, chances are I've forgotten some of it. Because if not, I think what we might do, yeah, the yellow is growing on me. The bamboo is very much like a yellow-green color, and so I wasn't super sure seeing it next to like the birch or the oak, but I do like it. I think it's growing on me. I like it a lot. I like the textures. I was a little not sure about the color next to everything, but I like it now. Having seen it next to stuff, I like it a lot. Not that you can think of. Yeah, I feel like we covered the new stuff. You should think about starting doing that. Oh yeah, you've been missing back pre-114 when you used to do trading with neighboring villagers. Yeah, I also like it because I don't like having villagers in my, like, near my base. Because every time I've ever played Minecraft, pillagers just camp my base. And I like being able to just deal with them if I need to without having to worry about starting a raid because I've got a villager like in my base or near my base. But also, yeah, I like the idea of these people, you know, the people in these villages having their own lives and their own histories and their own cultures and their own everything. And I do, yeah, I'm realizing that I do have although I don't have Optifine, I was like, I did install Robert's pack that lets the villagers be different models, not just the kind of semi-generic white person, effectively. But I can't turn it on here because I don't have Optifine. But yeah, if I like elements of a game that force you to approach it differently, I guess is what I'm saying, which I'm sure I've said already. But yeah, pillager patrols. I can imagine, Robert, because like if you're doing a pacifist run, how do you deal with pillager patrols? Do you like leave and come back and hope for the best? Like, do they... I don't even know if pillager patrol... I'm assuming they despawn if you go far enough away. You can't believe they haven't got Optifine in the snapshots. In a snapshot released yesterday. Yeah. But yeah, there is as an FYI, Robert has got a if you don't mind me plugging it, Robert's got a texture pack situation, effectively. Hang on, copy link. Let's do this. There you go. That lets the villagers, basically it brings the Minecraft Education Edition textures for villagers into Minecraft, like vanilla Minecraft. And it's nice because, again, it means that there's a little bit more representation in the game, which I feel is huge and very important. They do despawn. There's also a game rule to disable them. That is true. That's true. I feel like if I were doing a pacifist run, I would probably just disable them so that I didn't have to deal with them. In fact, they're probably, if I do like I have runs, like games that are just kind of chill, relaxing kind of runs, and I really should just be like, no pillagers. Just don't. Just disable pillagers. Disable pillager raids at least. Just because they're so annoying. But yeah, for anybody who wants, that's the pack there. I think it's great. I really like having more representation in Minecraft. I think we need it, and I for one am very excited about the upcoming changes. I'm happy about these hanging signs, and the bamboo I think is great. I love the raft. I love the camels. They're so great. And yeah, I think the team they've already given us some really, really beautiful features that I love. So I'm very happy to wait and see what else they want to chuck our way, because I think it's really cool and really valuable. And I know it's a little bit different to how they've done updates in the past, but I think it's worth seeing what this is and what this does before we start, you know, even if you're feeling like it's not as much as you were hoping, maybe wait and see what they're going to be offering over the course of the next year, say. The fact that we've got some of these features less than a week after they were announced is wild. And I know that this is like all of the features they announced, but that's only because they only announced the stuff that was basically ready to go. So you can imagine that there's a lot more to come that isn't quite ready to go yet. So they're not announcing it because they don't want people to be disappointed if it changes. But there is more in the works, and I'm really excited to see what all that is, because what they've already given us is really, really cool. And I'm excited to see the new stuff. One thing you don't like about the pillager patrols is that they still work on old lighting rules. Oh! That's annoying. That's good to know. That's really good to know. You lit up a village only to find out afterwards. Oh, ad break. Okay. Well, I'll wait until after the ad break, but we'll probably end up closing out the stream relatively soon. But yeah, I'm excited for these updates. I think we've got some really cool blocks to play around with. We've got at least one cool mob so far. I definitely just went to do the Optifine zoom thing, forgetting that I don't have Optifine in here. But yeah, we've got a lot of cool things that are happening, and already a lot of really cool ideas for how these things are are potentially going to be used in the future, I guess. Like out of the box ideas. I really like the Venetian blind idea. That's really cool. And yeah, putting a bunch of stuff beneath the trap doors just to see what works. It's really cool. And back. Good. I was just saying how I really like this update, Robert. So yeah, and also very good to know about the pillager patrols working on old lighting rules. That's very annoying, and I'm glad that you've let us know, because my goodness, is that an important thing to know. But yeah, so I think what we're gonna do, guys, is probably end there. Thank you so much for joining the stream. And I am sorry if she finishes her stream right when we raid, but yeah, I think you guys will enjoy her. She's really nice. Okay, let me set that up for you guys, and I'll send you on over. All right, I'll see you on Tuesday, everybody. Bye.